OF, 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 OF.
Which is your craziest story?
Yes! What hits your account on a monthly basis?
My paycheck?
Yes! When you tell people just to be responsible, they take that as like a threat.
Hey, don't get mad
trying
at me
to
for
make a
standing up
point.
to myself.
What do you think of the criticism that sometimes you're too harsh on the guests?
Stop being a and take some actual responsibility for the first time in your damn life. Why the are you guys here?
How often do you tell the guest you should break up?
There's a couple of people that they would be better off separate, for sure.
Yeah, she didn't have debt before me, but she didn't have a degree either.
Leave this person. Leave this person.
I also didn't have collections before you.
And you didn't have a job either.
What would you say are the financial death sentences that people do?
Cars are always a horrendous thing.
Seriously, the car's not the best.
I doubt you're maintaining it because you probably don't even know where the oil goes.
And if someone were to look through your personal finances as an audit, what would they criticize? Caleb Hammer, welcome to the Iced Coffee Hour. So I've seen that you've filmed over 500 episodes of Financial Audit. Which is your craziest story?
Craziest story? It's a recent one, honestly. Couples episodes, they're my favorite. We were just talking before. You love the couples episodes. Everyone loves the couples episodes. There's a guy and a girl, tale as old as time, together, in love. Finance is a little bit of a mess, kind of using each other here and there. But then I randomly find out that their sex life is 0. Why does that come up in financial audit? I have no idea. Honestly,
Did you ask them?
I don't remember the context. No, it was like a sly comment because, people bicker on the show. And he was like, they were talking, it was like, if you gave me some or something like that. It was something like that, which like triggered me to go deeper.
And then you have to investigate that.
Yeah, because my producers didn't know. One of them always sits there. I didn't know. I go in blind. So every once in a while, we hear these crazy things that whenever we hear something that my producers didn't know about beforehand, that's when we know it's going to be like the craziest episode. So we found out they weren't banging. And it's like once a month or so. Then we went further, and the purchases on his checking account, and then it was OnlyFans. And they agreed that they were not going to do any OnlyFans purchasing because she wanted to, but he wasn't performing. And she was like, it is a rule. You cannot watch. You can't do all this. And he's like, okay. So I saw those OnlyFans purchases. I was like, oh. And it got really somber really quick. And I felt so bad for her. And I was like, dude, just give me your phone. Took his phone, went to his OnlyFans. And the dude is subscribing like once a week to a new woman.
Okay, so why do you have to see his OnlyFans? Isn't it enough to see the charges? Why do you have to see the individual people?
Because I only had a month statement, right? So I needed to see how consistent was this going back. And this was nonstop while they're having this struggle. And she put that as a red line, as a no-go. That he could not do that. In that all being exposed on the show, I feel so horrible for her because it hit her.
I don't understand
it was real.
How she's unaware of the it hit her directly on the show. But if they're submitting their financial statements, don't you think that she would have gone through it? And also, if they're at the point of exposing this to millions of people online, then this guy would have been like, I don't know if I want to do this financial audit thing. It's not like he forgot that this is going to be in his statements. Yeah, he knows going into it.
People don't know what's in their statements because the people that come on the show, I love you. You guys are great. But they're usually financially stupid. That's the point of the show, right? So they don't know what is in there.
That doesn't sound like financial stupidity. That just sounds like stupidity.
General. Yeah, stupidity.
Yeah, obviously that's going to be there.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, we've talked about this so many times, the guest is able to determine what we do not talk about. Usually, there has been many guys that have been on the show that are like, I'm good with anything, just don't mention the OnlyFans purchases, so we redact them. And they're never even mentioned. You wouldn't even know what episodes
So they are hiding that from their significant other if they see
or just
OnlyFans?
From the audience or from their workplace.
How
or
common is that? How common is it that they have
Among
OnlyFans
men,
charges?
Very, and we censor via their request. So that guy had that opportunity. I don't think he even just thought about it. I don't even think he thought about it.
Did he seem like the type of guy that just wouldn't think about that? Or did it seem like he wanted the drama? He wanted the episode to go viral?
Oh, no, he did not want that to happen.
So
he shut down, and it wasn't intentional. Again, that came up just organically. That wasn't planned. That wasn't known about. So no one knew, including him. It was crazy. The good news is they are still together. We've recently done an audit update, a part of our Hammer Elite membership with them, and they are still together. They're working on it, but it was kind of infidelity because they agreed. She put the red line out there, the ultimatum. He was like, okay, fine. And then for months, hundreds of dollars of OnlyFans purchases off to other women when they're not being.
Do they have a joint account or were these separate accounts?
Separate. They weren't married yet. And they're very young. It was like 20 and 21. So
how often do you tell the guest you should break up?
For couples, maybe like 25% of the time. I
That's
actually
often,
I don't
I feel,
want them to break up usually, but in the heat of the episode, when I'm like kind of hating someone and I see that someone's the villain, I'm like, leave this person. But in the end, once I actually have a second to cool down before filming our post show, it's like, okay. I hated you in this moment, but I don't hate you as a person. I don't want you guys to actually break up, but I kind of wanted you to. There's a couple of people that they would be better off separate, for sure. Like, we've had a couple abusive situations, and we've talked to the women off camera afterwards, and I think they should leave. So
you talk to them off camera, just be like, hey, just letting you know.
Resources, giving them the resources just in case they're in danger, telling them they can text us anytime, that kind of stuff. And I want them to leave, but usually people in abusive situations, they don't. And the one that we had that we uploaded like 2 weeks before we're filming this right now, none of us knew that it was a potentially sketchy situation. It just kind of came up in the episode. When he was outside of the room, she offloaded what was happening.
What was happening?
Very confrontational. Her being put in the corner with him like yelling, him grabbing her collar.
Oh, wow.
And pulling her back in. But I didn't get his alternative. I didn't get his side until the post show because I wanted to back away from that topic. In the post show, it was a completely different experience from his angle, saying that she had a knife, she was threatening to hurt herself, that she was gonna kill him. And it was like all this different. So it's like, who's right, who's wrong? But they probably shouldn't be together.
And how were their finances?
Always bad. Always bad.
That's crazy. You're really getting like kind of over, like you're getting into some treacherous territory here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Have you ever been threatened with a lawsuit from a financial audit that's done?
Okay, so one of our favorite recurring guests, Brenton Davey, he threw out the threat of a lawsuit. I don't think anyone took it too seriously. I don't even think we ran it past our lawyer. I don't remember. Just that everyone's so onboarded, so detailed that no one's surprised. Nothing's too crazy. But I mean, I think in the early days, we had a couple people that are upset. Maybe they like thought about it, in the back of their head.
But the thing is it sometimes these people's grievances or charges get thrown out to the world. Mm-hmm. Millions of people see it. Has anybody been worried about the repercussions of like getting employed afterwards when they've been caught lying to their significant other about OnlyFans charges? And maybe an employer sees this and says, hey, wait a second, maybe this is not the guy who we should hire to be in charge of the elementary school.
The elementary school. Only one person in the 4 we film a week, 3 uploads a week, has actually faced real world consequences from his job, but it was fair. The dude worked in being like an airline mechanic. So he was doing maintenance, which people's lives depend on. And the job that he had at filming, which he fully admitted, and again, he did not need to talk about it in the show. He could have told us and we would have not done it because I don't even think I knew about it. And he said, yeah, I was fired from my last job because I almost got someone. And he just admitted that. And they were like, oh, we didn't know that. Sorry, bye. So that's the one person that's faced actual real world consequences. Most get their boss's permission to come on the show. They're like, I'm going to come on the show. It's going to be a little embarrassing. Are you chill with that? And they're like, yeah, it's chill. Because most people don't actually care. It's, a fun, like it goes crazy online for like 2 days and then it's gone, right? So.
Have you ever made the decision to remove something from an episode in order to protect the guest?
Oh, yeah. Well, all the time when it comes to locations or people's names, that happens constantly.
But what about their own just negligence or something that they don't understand the consequences of putting that, airing that out?
They reveal something where you say, you really shouldn't be saying this. And even though you think it's okay, I'm going to take the executive decision to cut that.
Yeah, a couple mental health things, not in like a position where they weren't mentally well enough to be on the show or something like that, but more like, they're talking about maybe a situation where like, it's not the best. It's like it reflects badly out into the world, and maybe in that moment they were very sad and worked up, but we're like, okay, they probably didn't want to say that. So there's just a few instances here and that, and I give my editors a lot of power where I don't need to overlook everything, but if they see that something's like, okay, this kind of with that person's life, and it's like obviously in the moment it didn't really make sense for them to be saying it has no contextual part of the episode, then they'll get rid of it.
Now, what about recently? You had a guest come in with a
yeah. Well, actually, yeah, it's happened a couple times, but yeah,
couple times.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know, man.
How do you?
These people are crazy. We got a guy up front. You probably saw him. We love him. He keeps us safe. I'm waiting for the day when he gets to, tackle someone, but because we got some crazies out there. But yeah, she came with. I have no idea why. It was stupid, and she bought it right before coming on the show with debt, like a dumb. Like I don't know what the she was thinking.
Why did she buy it before the show?
Safety, because she was coming from the airport to our studio.
So she
10 minutes from the airport.
So she landed the plane, went straight to a store.
I think so, or she got it right before going on the plane. I don't remember, but she was like, well, it's a new city. I'm scared.
Does that not seem like a red flag that a guest buys a before coming on the show?
A little bit,
just
but
maybe they're not.
Here.
Even still, I don't think normal people land somewhere to go on a show and like in between the airport and the show buys a, regardless of the intention of that. It doesn't seem like a.
It's not
if it looks like a duck, smells like a duck, sounds like a duck, might be.
The show wouldn't be half as interesting without a couple psychos here and there, though. So
how do you find
a sacrifice I'm willing to take?
How do you find some of these people? Because I see your ads everywhere. When I'm on Facebook or Instagram, I'm scrolling and I'm like, come on, financial audit.
Yeah.
And it seems like you're casting worldwide almost or
throughout
the United
States.
States.
It's actually targeted places, and you guys are in Vegas.
Yeah.
So Vegas, there's some fun people in Vegas. So it's a couple targeted spots. The thing is, it's an awareness play. We target people who already watch financial audit, are already fans of financial audit. So we just get them to think, here's the show that you like, want to come on the show. Because everyone we have is from the audience. In the rare, like, 1 or 2 times a year that someone has not seen the show, we force them to watch an episode and some clips before they come on the show. But everyone's just from the audience. We just target them and we're like, hey, you want to come on the show? Want to come on the show? We just kind of make them think about it when they're scrolling online. So everyone's from the audience. There's just some crazy people out there, and I love them for it. Be crazy. We like a little crazy. I'm a little crazy.
What I don't understand is, why do you have the name of your company on the door to the building? I have never understood that. It seems like there is so little to gain.
There's
and
nothing
so
to gain.
much to lose.
It was the first thing Jack and I said.
It's
even when we first.
I literally just see it. I'm just like, what do you have to gain? If you can maybe list out 3 things, like 3 benefits of having the name on the door.
I mean, I like my logo. Like
ego.
Okay, there's one.
Ego.
Ego, sure, a little to a certain point. I mean, it's really cool to have accomplished having like a big space. That is cool, but it does make it easier for people to find. But we could pretend it's a different company and just tell them to find that. So that's not a good reason. I don't know. It was just one of the first things we did was market.
We've seen some studios, and they've purposely gone out of their way to be as anonymous as possible, and that works to their favor. And you have no idea who they are, what's going on behind the doors. It's all tinted.
Yeah, we probably should. Well, we probably should. We have some crazies. Again, I'm happy the guy up front is there. I love him. He takes me to and from my car every day.
That's good. That is very wise. Yeah.
Or if I go downstairs for any of the restaurants and whatnot. But
do you worry about your personal safety?
I did. After the Charlie Kirk thing, I was like, I mean, we're not even in comparable spaces, but I've had people, even though I literally just joke and make roasts to people that are consenting to it, I have people calling me fascist day in and day out. So I had security sitting out front of my house for weeks until we got to install a good system. I got a gun, so I'll blast someone's head off if needed. But, it was scary there for a second. I think everyone's, I was texting you. You're a little nervous too. Like, I think everyone was a little scared. That is even personal finances can get controversial. When you tell people just to be responsible, they take that as like a threat. It's like the way people twist things is crazy. I mean, yeah. I mean, I have a pretty intense snark community, and I have, and those people are pretty crazy, and they've put other creators' lives in threat. So every once in a while, I'll get a security guard to sit outside when like something's kind of bubbling a little, when people are going a little ravenous online. But in general, we have a good security system at my house to protect me, my girlfriend, and dogs, and we have a ready fingerprint, if needed. Hopefully not, though. It's just crazy that a show that should be just fun with crazy titles and thumbnails. I get it. I know. It gets people so heated in a way where, like, I mean, I do get threats.
The thing is, I've watched a lot of your episodes, and some of the people I think who are on your show are not mentally stable. And those are the people who I worry about, where maybe you go a little too hard on them, or maybe something happens down the line that they were on the show and then they're not in the right headspace to fully think through their decisions.
Yeah, it's always possible. There's been a couple people we've been nervous about.
Yeah.
Brent, a guy a long time ago named Zeke. We do a lot better in our vetting process now. We don't allow people with like these, if they have like dangerous. Actually, we do background checks, and our security guard did find one person who almost came on and was almost invited to the studio, had a couple of just weird red flags in their internet history, and we're just like, nah, it's not even worth the risk.
Smart.
Yeah.
The logic agrees with you. Like, you're not doing anything objectively wrong, but you're potentially working with people that aren't playing by the same rules.
Yeah.
They're not following the logic.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that we could advise on.
Every business right now is asking themselves the same question. How do we make AI work for us? The possibilities are endless, but guessing is too risky, and sitting on the sidelines isn't an option, because if you're not doing it, guaranteed your competitors are.
That's where our sponsor NetSuite by Oracle comes in. It's the #1 AI cloud ERP, trusted by over 43,000 businesses to manage everything from financials and inventory, commerce, HR, and CRM, all in one unified system.
When all of the data is in one place, your AI gets smarter. It doesn't just guess. It knows. NetSuite intelligently automates routine tasks, delivers real-time insights, and helps you make fast, confident decisions that actually help drive growth.
And this is not just an add-on. It's literally AI built right into the system that runs your business, helping you cut costs, improve accuracy, and stay ahead of the competition.
Whether your company's earning millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite gives you the control and visibility to keep moving forward. Honestly, if I were building a business at this level, this is exactly what I'd be using, because I've been starting to integrate AI into my own business, and it has already saved me hours of time a day that I could instead use on actually making things even better.
So if your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, get NetSuite's completely free business guide, Demystifying AI, at netsuite.com/iced.
Again, the guide is free for you at netsuite.com/iced, with the link down below in the description, netsuite.com/iced. Enjoy. Going on something a little more positive here, you've seen at this point thousands of people, between couples, individuals, you've seen all the personal finances. What is the strongest predictor of success?
Strongest predictor of success, it's when they have a really good story about weight loss or grinding through a degree or working through a family struggle and helping someone else. When they've buckled down and actually accomplished something, even outside of personal finances. Like, I know, you have the capacity to lock down, go through some uncomfortable months or even potentially years if it's really bad, and get this done. Especially those that have gone through, like, we've had people that come on and they've lost hundreds of pounds, and I'm like, man, okay, if you went through how hard that is, I know you can take a budget, take some tools, take some resources, and actually improve your life. Or when they've saved family members or friends or gone through really hard degrees with no support, it's past behavior is indicative of future results or something, right? So it's when people have really accomplished some hard things in the past, I know they can buckle down. Now, on the other side, when I have a guest coming on and they play the deflection game, this happens a lot. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to change that. Or, oh yeah, I'm changing that. Or I want to change that. That's the response to any pushback I give. And I'm like, no, you have no example, no history of you ever changing anything. And I have your statements right in front of me, and it's all around, and that's this last month. You can't just, your response to everything can't be, I'm changing that. I'm going to change that. Because that isn't it. I can take that word from someone that lost weight, went through a really hard time in life, and went from homelessness to back. That I can believe in that person. But when someone hasn't actually had the struggle or done the turnaround at any point in their life, and they're just like, yeah, I'm going to do it, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. There's nothing for me to believe. Where's the believe? I don't see the believe.
Do you think it's possible for someone who has not been through the struggles to make a change?
Oh, I absolutely. It's just harder to be like objectively confident because it's the first time. I mean, when I went through my personal financial issues in my early 20s and grinding my way out, it was the first real struggle that I had to do myself because, yes, my family had personal financial struggles and foreclosure notices, but that was on my family, right? As a kid, you might have some like side consequences, but it wasn't like I didn't have to go get a job at 5 or 10.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I did it. I know people can do it. I cannot play the game of the deflection of, oh, I'm going to change it. It's like, there is nothing to show me. You can't just say that. That's not an answer to, hey, why'd you spend all this? Oh, I'm going to change it. No, you haven't showed me that you are. You haven't proven that. So, yeah, of course. But it is harder to get in to that motion of really changing your life for the very first time ever, when you haven't done it before.
What's the most insane purchase that you've seen from someone who's broke?
Well, OnlyFans is a pretty bad purchase. Paying for titties in 2026.
I will say, ethically speaking, it could be more ethical than free.
Jack, the hub does ads. The AdSense on the hub is crazy.
I hear actually the hub pays really well.
Really
and
well.
that some creators are uploading their non-explicit videos to the hub and actually making like a decent money from it.
It's like making members content versus posting it on Maine. Maine does really well. Like it's so no, I get it. But I mean, that's stupid. I'm sorry. Titties are everywhere. They're free. Why are we paying for them? That was a dumb purchase. You always got the car, the $100,000 Ford Texas Ranch Ranger F1000. And it's just, oh my. Or when someone thinks they got a nice car and they got like a Dodge Charger and they souped it up for like $50,000. I'm like, what are we doing? Why Dodge Charger? Why? So cars are always a horrendous thing.
What's the biggest car payment you've seen?
2,000, I think. 2,000, and it was a truck. It was a truck, yeah.
How much were
We've
they
had
making?
a couple that was around 2,000.
How much were they making?
Well, it definitely wasn't in their budget, I'll tell you that. I mean, usually around the show, people are bringing in like 5 to 6.
So they're spending like 35% of their income on the car.
Yeah, but they could have been a $3,000 income. I that was like a year ago, so I'm not exactly sure on their number, but it was about a $2,000 truck payment. And we've had that, I think, twice now.
What's a classic broke person car?
Dodge Charger is definitely highest level of repos, I think, one of them, right? Or Challenger. I don't know. They do gravitate to like those like weird muscle cars. It's classic. That and a big ass truck. Americans and their big ass truck. I don't know why, man.
What would you say are the financial death sentences that people do?
It's the micro purchases. And it's how you do your micro purchases. So even in people's checking account, they'll do the micro purchase of the McDonald's over and over and over again. But they don't think it's much because it's $10, it's $12. Then it's every day, every other day. Or the energy drink. The energy drink thing is huge, man. People are going in and buying $5 energy drinks every day on the way to work. Every day. And that shit stacks. But then you can do it wrong. You can do it on a credit card that is building interest. So it's even worse than on the checking account. Or you could do it even worse. Do it at a 35% interest rate on Klarna. And then this is what we have now on our show. People buy their energy drinks on Klarna. And then they'll pay their Klarna minimum monthly payment with their credit card. And then they'll pay their credit card with like a personal loan. It's just like debt for debt for debt for debt. And the longer you push that out, the further you push it down that debt train, the longer it takes to pay off the debt. But it's those micro purchases are what's killing everyone. It is a high car payment, or it is the micro purchases that you're like, it's not that much, but I'm going to do it over and over and over again. And it stacks up way higher than you'd ever think.
Where do you think the balance is, though, between scaling back on micro purchases and putting that effort towards making more money?
Well, more money doesn't change bad behavior, right? So it really doesn't. I mean, when people lifestyle inflate, you get an extra 25% income, you probably spend an extra 35%. So before people ever aggressively go make a lot more money or go through bankruptcy, credit card transfer, personal loan, whatever it is, those can all be really good tools. But if you don't change the inherent behavior that got you there in the first place, you're just going to fuck it up. We've had people that are coming on the show going through their third bankruptcy because that doesn't actually change anything. Debt consolidation doesn't change anything.
You're calling it behavior. Would you say it's more a lack of knowledge, or would you say it's mostly laziness that keeps people poor?
These days, more laziness. I could see lack of knowledge a bit more 10, 20 years ago, but now more than half the states in the country have a required personal finance course to graduate high school. Like, that's huge. It's a big change in this country. Now, that's a big positive. And now we live in the world of Grok, GPT, Claude, Google, you name it. Anything you want to know, you find out. And personal finance is honestly basic. Like, I'm kind of when it comes to math. It's basic. It's very basic stuff. Like, no, we're not talking like the best insurances to buy. We're talking about paying off debt, building a fully funded emergency fund. So at this point, it's laziness to not find the answer, or it's just, it goes beyond the ignorance to like, there's something going on and you're just actively choosing not to do it because it's more comfortable to put your head in the sand. It's more comfortable to live that fast food every day, Starbucks every day lifestyle, which is fun. I mean, I get it. For what it's worth, I mean, I will put myself back there with all these guests that are doing it. When I was in college, carefree, going to McDonald's every day or going out with friends and putting that all on credit cards every single day, Chase Freedom Card. It was fun. And I had no stresses. Even though the stress was building, I didn't acknowledge it. It wasn't real. It was something for later, not to think about. And that was fun. It's more stressful to think about money even when you're successful because you're thinking about money. And it's always there. It's always something to figure out. When you're not thinking about it, you're just swiping. That's a great life. Not in the end, but it's a great life in the moment. It really is. So I think it's a little bit of, it's certainly laziness, lack of information, less and less so. And because everyone uses the excuse, well, my parent never taught me. No one's does. Did yours? I don't know.
A little bit, yeah. That's what kind of got me into it. Is like I remember when I was young, actually it was Graham, honestly. Like my dad was telling me, hey, you should like be buying stocks and stuff like that. And so like I kind of like dabbled very lightly. But then it was Graham's videos of like high interest banks. And I was like, how can I make my money that I've saved kind of like grow over time? So it was really just high yield savings accounts was the first thing to everything. But I do agree with you. I think it's mostly laziness and not necessarily knowledge because the knowledge is everywhere. It's not hard to find it.
Yeah, but you have to know to look for it in the first place.
No, I would. What do you mean to look for it? It's pretty obvious.
If all
you're
you
not
ever
satisfied,
see is people spending money on a credit card, and that's your entire world, how do you know there's anything more than
so
that?
like what IQ do you think you have to have higher than to be able to say, okay, I am dissatisfied with where I'm at financially. Let me do a quick Google search to see how can I improve
I
it.
just think when it's
And then
all
comes
you
up.
see, it's your entire world. You have no idea what's beyond that world. Let's just say you
If
live
you're
in a
unhappy with it,
very
though.
poor neighborhood. You've never been out of that district. You don't have a car. All you see is just poverty. How do you know there's anything beyond that?
The same could be.
Well, I mean, no beyond that. For what it's worth, we live in the world where everyone's watching content from all around the world. There's a life beyond it. I'll say, I mean, where you were going for a second, I was totally aligned with. When you grow up in bad schools, you grow up in poverty. Yes, it is harder to escape that. The United States isn't perfect for going up to the next class. We're kind of middle of the road when it comes to that. You can get lots of success here, but it's not perfect moving up the reins. But now with everyone being so connected, you see beyond.
All you need is one Mark Tilbury short or one of
Yeah.
your shorts to appear on your shorts feed, and then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
like,
But
if
it's
you
only
wanna get
once
wealthy,
you start down that path do you get recommended the content. Like I remember when I was making the video about the Roth IRA, explaining it, I knew that people wouldn't know to search for it unless they already were looking for it. And so I made a video
That's
on
why
like
you had to make
how to be a tax-free millionaire on $5 a day or whatever
but it
the title
exists now,
was.
is the thing. Back in the day, it didn't. That's why I think now is different than it was a decade ago.
Well, I mean, my thing is like, if you're going to get your first credit card, we didn't have GPT and all that stuff when I was getting my first credit card. Instead, I asked my parents. If I was 18 today, I would literally YouTube, Google, like, maybe I wouldn't say what's dangerous about a credit card, but I would like, tell me about this credit card. And it would at least tell you about the interest and all. And then I'm like, oh, wait, tell me about that interest rate. Because it takes you down those rabbit holes to keep using the service. So
Would you agree that if you're motivated to become financially literate, then it exists?
Yes.
Okay,
You have to
the
be motivated to
exact-
be financially
There we go.
literate.
The exact opposite of being motivated is to be lazy. And so you're saying then that if you're lazy, that will be a
I'm going to
massive
say
obstacle.
it's harder when you don't know what to look for or what you need to even
Yeah.
search for.
that is true.
That's absolutely true. But if you're on the sliding scale of like laziness versus knowledge, then like if you're motivated, eventually you'll find out. If it requires a few failures along the road.
I think right now there's like another 100x opportunity that we're all going to look back on today and be like, oh my gosh, if only I knew to search for that. But you don't know to search for that because it's not in our sphere. But 10 years from now, it might be. And we look back at today and we say, oh, I should have done that. I think a lot of people do that with finance. I should have done this had I known that I needed to do that.
It's also harder because, again, we just have so many more resources.
If you just take a snapshot of time right now, I think that there's an abundance of knowledge, information online that can take you.
Less so about the lack of education. A dangerous thing we see time and time again is like the bad education. Because it's not... perfect isn't like trying over and over again, right? It's that, or perfection isn't trying over and over again. Because if you keep trying the same bad thing over and over again, you're going to be perfect at being bad as well. So it doesn't lead to endlessly good results. If your parents are giving you bad information, like, let's say we're in a place that is lower income and everyone is getting their nice cars, what they're prioritizing over getting a nice place and a nice education. And your parents are pushing you to do that. Like, hey, you got to look good. You got to get this car. You got to get this clothes. You got to do this. It's like, that's bad education. That could hurt someone because the kid's very impressionable. Or getting pressure to go get a bad degree, a worthless degree at any school, going into any amount of student loan debt. Like, I don't blame an 18-year-old for that if their parents and student counselors are heavily pushing them, go to any school you want to get any degree you want and borrow whatever it takes to get it. So, I don't think that's laziness. I think you can have a bad influence. I had a slight bad influence. I turned 18. I wanted a piano. My parents said, well, the first thing you should do at 18 is open a credit card and max it out to get the piano you wanted. So I did. That wasn't laziness. That was the people that I looked to for the advice giving me bad advice. So it's not just laziness. There's other components to it as well, but there's lots of laziness.
I 100% agree. There's many components to it. We just happen to maybe disagree on the sliding scale.
Sure.
Why do you think so many people don't know how much money they spend?
They don't look, man. I got people coming on the show that have never seen their checking accounts. They won't do something as simple as just like literally just all the apps do the automated connections, and it just tells you within like 2 minutes.
What's your favorite one that you'd recommend?
Well, DollarWise, of course, but
if we're putting that to the side, besides DollarWise budgeting app, what would you recommend?
I like one for a different reason. If you want to go hardcore advanced, Wannabe is fun. We've just learned that a lot of people click off in the onboarding because there's too much. Just too much.
I agree with you on that. I tried doing it and it was taking too much time. I was like,
that's why we did simple. Rocket Money's pretty good, but I learned in the end they just kind of want to sell you a mortgage, so wasn't the biggest fan of.
I got a mortgage with Rocket Mortgage.
See,
in fairness, but it was the best rate that I could have found.
It's what it works.
They are very competitive. I gotta say.
I'm not saying that's inherently bad, but I want to use it for my own reasons, not to be sold. I did do every dollar. Every dollar was good. One thing I didn't like and why I don't always advise it is because it forces you to use the Ramsey method. So that's not very like personal. So Monarch is pretty good. Monarch's a new guy on the block. I just always get a little nervous when companies raise like $100 million in private equity because...
What do they use that money for a budgeting app? $100 million?
It's crazy because we didn't need that, but also private equity always ends up like collecting private data in the end. Not saying they're going to. That's always what private equity wants. So I get a little nervous. So I like all those apps for their own reasons, but I'm hesitant for all those specifics as well.
Yeah. Personally, I tend to like Rocket Money a lot. I find it's the best beginner-friendly.
It's pretty easy.
It has everything you need, and it's pretty affordable if you pay for it. And I pay for it. I actually like it.
I'd say they're all affordable for what you get. If you tweak your budget, because all of them are on that $10 to $15 a month. If you tweak your budget and save $100, just because of a budgeting app, it's so easily worth it.
This episode is in partnership with Airbnb. So Graham and I are going to South Korea soon, and we are both so excited to spend a week exploring cities, checking out traditional villages, and enjoying the local food and culture.
And if you're big on traveling like us, anytime we're away, the home just ends up sitting unused. But it could actually be generating extra income by hosting on Airbnb.
So you guys may not know this, but at one point, I actually hosted on Airbnb a spare bedroom in my house, and it ended up being far easier than I expected. The setup was straightforward, everything ran smoothly, and it turned into a genuinely great experience overall. circumstantial. And guys, I am being so honest, it is genuinely a phenomenal way to make some extra cash if you have spare bedrooms in your house. Just put them on Airbnb. You'll make some money. It is so easy. It's quite enjoyable. I highly recommend it.
Now, if you've ever thought about hosting but weren't sure how to handle it if you're away, Airbnb now has the co-host network. With this, you could partner with a vetted local co-host with hosting experience who could take care of the important details for you.
So you see, a co-host can help manage reservations, guest communication, and even provide on-site support so everything goes smoothly while you're away.
This makes hosting a lot more manageable when you travel.
It's also just a great way to earn some extra cash for future trips or just home projects.
If you've considered hosting but need some help, find a co-host at airbnb.com/host. So at what income level do you feel like someone should stop feeling broke?
Does that ever happen? Did that happen to you?
I don't feel broke anymore,
Don't feel
but
broke.
I don't feel rich either. So I
Which
feel
I
like
know.
somewhere in the middle.
We'll get memed on for saying that, of course, but yeah, stop feeling broke. Obviously, it's going to depend on where you live. Man, it's going to be less of an income thing. It's going to be your liabilities, isn't it? It always is. You can be making $100 million a year, but if you got billions in liabilities, I mean, and those payments are fucked, you're going to feel broke. $100,000 a year is what I always aimed for. But if I had a high car payment, high rent, high mortgage, whatever it is, I'm going to feel broke.
Even studies today now say that middle class starts at $140,000 a year for a family with 2 kids.
Yeah, and Gen Z said they needed to make like $300,000 a year to feel comfortable or something.
Yes.
Just wild.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts is they haven't been through a recession yet. So a little bit of a lack of life experience, which is fine. That's not a bad thing. That's not on Gen Z. I'm right in that middle. You're Gen Z. I'm like on that cusp. So it's not pooing on them, but it's like, I get it. I get it. The lifestyle that we want in our consumerism culture, the more the merrier when it comes to money. But once you actually go through a recession or you enter a bad job market, now they actually are entering a bad job market right now. And that might change the numbers because where Gen Z was entering the job market for the majority of their work life so far was like the best job market in the history of the United States. You know, that COVID boom, tech hiring anyone for anything. And now it's a bad time. Now it's a hard time. The layoffs last month, highest since the Great Recession. Job number revisions that hit the day before we're filming this episode, millions less last year. So I think that is what a generation usually takes to realize, okay, like I can be happy with living a certain lifestyle and it doesn't need to be this over the top crazy. So I'm not saying they need to, but it is hard. Reality hits in.
How bad is Gen Z going to get by AI?
Dude, that's the question. That's the question.
All the people right now who are studying to be lawyers,
yeah,
engineers, I feel like so many people are going to get wiped out and they're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars going to school, years of their life just to graduate and realize like, wait a second, this AI is now able to do what I've studied years to do, and it does it in 1/100th of the time for free.
It's crazy. My head of tech, who has about a 5-person team, he said if he was doing this 6 years ago, he would need 3 times the people. That's a ton of jobs, not out of like greed or anything. It was just like you don't pay people when you don't need to hire someone. And it's not a greed thing. So everything's just so efficient right now, especially in the world of programming, even slightly design and engineering. It is difficult. The arguments are interesting on both sides. And it's impossible. I refuse to take like who I agree with because I don't know. I don't want to just like be like, yeah, I agree with this person that's guessing who doesn't know what they're talking about. There's the 2 camps, right? It's, okay, this has happened throughout human history. You got the farm equipment. You got the automation in factories. Okay, industries got wiped out. It was all replaced with something more productive. This is another example of that. And then there's the other ones like, well, no, this is new. This is completely game changing. We're not going to need to do anything. We need to get something like UBI going. We need to do, we've never seen anything like this. I don't know what the other side of the hill looks like. I don't know if I want to fully advise to panic go into a trade that is less AI replaceable because I don't want to scare people off from anything else. But I also don't want to say there's nothing to worry about. We don't know what the other side of that hill looks like, man. We really don't. And we're already seeing some impacts right now. Customer service will probably be automated. If you ever talk to one of these programs right now,
they're getting better.
They're getting good.
Yeah.
They're getting good. I talk to Grok in my car sometimes. Like if we're stuck in traffic, me and my girlfriend will play trivia on it. It gets a little weird with their intonation sometimes, but it's good. And it listens really well. So customer service is probably gone. A lot of engineering is probably gone.
I think therapists are also going to be wiped out.
Yeah. Once people feel ethically safe with that. And ethical about it. You feel safe about it?
Yes, absolutely. If I have any sort of personal problem, I will put it in ChatGPT or Gemini, and I get its unbiased opinion.
Unbiased?
Yeah. I say poke holes. You have to word it in such a way that it doesn't just agree with you.
You have to teach it.
And I want it to poke holes, show the other side, tell me what I'm not seeing. You have to prompt it.
You do have to prompt
it. You do have to prompt it, but still there is kind of like an end all with like there is bias on social.
Yeah, but so would be a therapist. A therapist would have their own biases that they weave into. I would probably feel more confident.
Okay, so then
program.
How do you justify when we ask ChatGPT, hey, estimate with the highest level of accuracy, RIQ, and it gives you and I both when we literally say, be as objective as possible, like no nonsense, and it says the exact same IQ for both you and me and our other friend we had in the car. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying that I follow it as gospel, but I will say it does give me what I think is a valuable perspective that maybe I am not seeing.
100%. It does do a generally really good job, but also for the average person that's going to be using ChatGPT, they're looking for validation. And so when they say, and then look at what this person said, and wasn't that messed up? And ChatGPT, being its very biased self, will be like, yeah, you know what? And then you did what's right, and they did what's wrong. Like it just generally, it wants to make you stay on the platform.
There was a TikTok that was trying to cancel a psychiatrist. Were you guys watching the whole saga?
No.
Oh, that shit was crazy. You would have loved it. Oh my goodness. But she was doing new therapy with GPT, or actually another one of those programs. But either way, she was trying to cancel her psychiatrist for not wanting to fuck her. But the AI was fully enabling her. And she started to make all these TikTok videos that racked up tens of millions of views trying to cancel this guy and destroy his life. I don't know.
Okay, now
it does reinforce your worldview.
It can, as long as you don't have the mental fortitude to push back against it and the objective thinking to think critically about these things. If you are in the mental headspace where you're subject to outside perspective that much, I don't think you're at the point where that's going to benefit you. It reminds us like the guy who recently, it was a really unfortunate situation where he offed himself and someone else because he felt like that person was spying on him and he was schizophrenic. And he thought the printer that his mom wanted plugged in was spying on him and would talk to ChatGPT, which would reinforce his belief. And he would say, I think my printer's spying on me. And ChatGPT would say, yes, you are very vigilant. You are extremely correct in this thinking. Most likely, this is it's like a hidden camera and it's recording you. And when this was unplugged, you're very smart to think, like, it reinforces his beliefs.
Yeah. I mean, we're close to that consciousness that they're trying to get to, most likely. I mean, a lot of people think it's like 5 years out. Once it does that, it should be able to think on its own, which hopefully would get rid of less biases, only bias on the information it's given or the parameters that it's set by the creator.
But how do you feel like this is going to impact Gen Z and everyone else?
The job market is going to be at minimum changed. We can at least say changed. Whether or not we become more productive in a certain way and it fuels different industries, or they're going to be jobless and we're going to need to tax the fuck out of everyone to do UBI, that we don't know. But if I was going into college right now, I don't want to panic everyone into it, but I would try to find something that's less likely to be replaced by AI. I think the government probably won't want to use AI because they don't want to be productive in anything. They're still using like printers and all this fax machines, so I'm not terribly afraid of that being replaced.
I heard they're using AI at the IRS though.
Well,
they're starting to use it to process audits and flags.
They used Claude in the Venezuela operation that just came out.
Really?
Yeah. And then
I didn't know that.
Anthropic was kind of they came out with it, and now the Department of Defense or Department of War, whatever you want to call it, is like kind of feuding with them. It's like active news as we're filming this, so who knows where that's gonna go out. But Yeah. Trades. I don't know if AI is going to do plumber, but they got the humanoids coming. We'll see what Tesla does. There's always new robots here and there. You got the toilet cleaning robots happening right now. Banking and finance. I have a feeling, though AI probably could do really good, I have a feeling it's going to be so heavily regulated in finance that it might be one of the safer places to be, because who knows what the government's going to allow AI to do in finance. So might be a safer place to get into. Getting into being a programmer and whatnot, I feel like that's just the most dangerous right now. You just have to be top level. You have to be top level now. So.
Do you feel like it's easier than ever to be financially free, given that we have all these resources available?
More resources to learn. Yeah, more resources to learn. Housing costs, not rent, but buying a house is, it's harder now than since like before everyone came back from World War II. So, that's more and more out of reach. Financially free. The stock market gives you incredible opportunities for investment and compound growth throughout your life. Incredible opportunities of getting better and better every year. That's why we have a major correction that brings that average of 12% from the S&P 500 down. So that is on your side. Housing's against. But rental is better on markets that are actually encouraging building for what it's worth, like Nashville, Florida, Austin, Dallas.
It just seems like with all these opportunities with AI, it's easier than ever to create a business.
To start a business, for sure. You got
easier than ever.
Apps.
The options to make money out there are endless with all the resources that are available.
Yeah, but you got to have that entrepreneurial mindset behind that. Like for the average person, though, is it easier than ever? I don't know. It's gonna be a change in trajectory. They're just gonna have to figure out how to navigate it. It's harder to buy a house. It is harder to buy a house, but it's better to invest now. Easier to invest now than ever. Fractional shares. There's tools and resources that are better than ever. But there's a couple things that are more out of reach. But you don't need to buy a house to be financially successful anyway. So, but a lot of people, tie that into the American dream and whatnot.
It is interesting. It's like the culture hasn't necessarily caught up with the reality of the situation, because back in the day, the culture would suggest you need to buy a house, and housing was accessible to get into. But now housing is not so accessible, and the culture hasn't necessarily switched to like, hey, with your extra income, go buy a house. It should be, hey, with your extra income, go buy some stocks, like get involved in the stock market. But the culture to the same degree has not switched to investing in stocks as it once was in housing. Or it still kind of is in housing. It's like the American dream most people want to be homeowners.
Yeah. But it's also different. The house they're buying is different. When people were buying their first house, when houses were accessible, it's like 1,000 square feet.
Starter homes.
A bedroom, 2-bed. Now that's a small condo. Those are the starter houses, and you can buy a condo in many places still. But people want the starter home today, which is 3-bed, 2-bath, 2,000 square feet. It's like, it's not the same. Our culture has evolved on that part as well, where we have a new level of expectations. You remember the also crazy home loans that they're getting. What was it? 0% down on everything?
Yeah.
When everyone came back from World War II, when everyone was able to get a house, well, it was more.
They also didn't have a lot of regulation back then in terms of building.
Yes.
Zoning was way easier, and land was not as scarce.
Why places like Austin, Texas, baby. Housing costs going down because we build shit. We build. The amount of permits that are taking place in places like San Francisco, you can count on 2 hands. It's crazy. That's why they should be building shit in San Francisco. People want to live there, but they won't because permitting's horrendous. Rent control's horrendous. Sounds great. Doesn't actually work.
It's incredibly cheap right now to live with roommates. If you go on Facebook, there's a whole section there where you could live with roommates, and people are just looking for a roommate to take a bedroom.
Yeah.
And the rent proportion that you would pay is significantly less than even if you were to split that rent with other people equally.
Yeah, but
like
the argument would be
significantly less.
The argument's going to be, when they clip this, is like, yeah, but if we live in a good first world country, developed country, I shouldn't have to have roommates to survive. So
Jack has roommates.
But should he have to have roommates to survive? He wouldn't need them now. But again, that's why
you just have to look at what the alternative is. Is the alternative that you spend 80% of your income on rent? I would argue that that's worse than living with roommates. Yes, it absolutely
is. Don't get me wrong.
And I think there are benefits of living with roommates. You constantly have companions. You constantly have buddies to be around.
Yeah, I'm not complaining, but that's what a lot of people would argue. And again, the expectation of housing is a lot more crazy. Their starter homes now are much more expensive, much larger than they were. That's why There's this project happening here in Austin with it's like the American Housing Company. It's a new startup, and they're building these like prefab small starter homes. That's what's going to be accessible to people. That's the OG classic starter home. That's not what a lot of people want. You see your HGTV show when you grow up. You want the big house. I did. I thought my starter home was crazy. $350,000? That shouldn't have been my starter home. It didn't need to be before I started YouTube. So
what I would love to see, I've been saying this for a while, two things. One is micro apartments, and I'm talking 300 square foot apartments that's just a studio, a kitchen, a bathroom, space for a bed that pulls down like a Murphy bed, and a really, really, really good walkable location. People would love that, just to have their own space to go home and sleep at night. That's all I wanted, because I was working all day, go to the gym, I get back, I just want a place to sleep. That was it.
In the demand shows that people want to live in those walkable areas too. Really
micro apartments would do so well. The other thing I think would do great is a big lot that just has small, tiny houses on it. I'm talking 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, the starter house, 900 square feet each, lined up along the end with a courtyard in the middle. Like, you used to have these 1950s apartment buildings like this, but each one is detached, and people just pay an HOA of, let's just say, $100 a month for common area maintenance. That way, everyone owns their own home, kind of like common-in-law ownership, but they share the expenses of maintenance. And that's a home.
Yeah.
People could buy their own home.
I honestly think politics is, for once, actually helping the American people in this one. Usually politics, most things you see kind of works against the average guy. But what we're going to see in the 2030 census is red states, Florida, Arizona, Texas, taking electoral college votes away from New York and California because we've built housing, we've done zoning reform, we've gotten rid of parking minimums. And this is actually starting to light a fire under those places' butts. California just did one of their biggest reforms in housing in decades, allowing more upzoning near transit centers.
With the abundance of opportunity around these days, which I think we all agree that there is, why do you think it is that people continue to feel like financial freedom is only getting further and further away?
Consumer culture, for sure. You want the nicer car, you want the nicer this, you want the nicer that. There's the housing situation that we talked about. Now a starter house is twice as big as the one previous. We want more and more and more. And we feel entitled to more and more and more. When you're in a prosperous society, you feel like you should have that more. That's not necessarily an inherently bad thought, but it's hard to have all of that. And now where we're entering a tough job market, first time since the Great Recession, a truly tough job market, a lot of things are going to feel inaccessible for a lot of people as well. Especially with the inflation we saw around grocery prices, that's scary. Now wages are starting to outpace inflation, but it's going to take a lot to catch up.
What financial takes do you have that would anger most viewers, even though they're true?
Rent control sucks. Doesn't work. It's performative, though. I don't know if this is going down the spiral, so I don't want to go too deep.
No,
into it.
yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. Yeah.
It hasn't worked. It's just one of those policies that sounds really good. It sounds really moral. I want to support it. Landlords, you make less money. People pay less in rent. But everywhere it's been enacted, permitting has gone down substantially. Rent's gone up even faster for the average person, except for the lucky few that are in subsidized housing or rent-controlled housing. Units go untouched, not being taken care of at all. I think it's like 10 or 20% of rent-controlled units in New York have no one in it because they can't be brought up to standard because it's not worth investing in.
That's vacancy control.
Yeah, and in Massachusetts, they enacted rent control. It was a complete disaster, so they had to get rid of it. And then housing costs went down. Austin, Texas tried to do rent control decades ago. Texas said, you, housing costs are going down because we instead focused on, if you build housing, it's actually more affordable. San Francisco, housing costs went, the moment they enacted rent control, got worse, and worse. Permitting went down. It just has never worked. Even in certain cities in Minnesota, they enacted rent control and took it back a few years later.
You know what I think all they need to do to solve the rent control problem is just two things. It's really easy. One is perhaps tie it to income so that you can't have someone making $500,000 a year in a rent-controlled apartment paying $2,000 a month on the beach. That makes no sense. The other thing is rent control should not be indefinite.
Yeah, generational.
I think it should be enacted only for, let's say, 3 to 6 years. Enough where someone could live there, have a base there, But it can't be indefinite to the point where the landlord passes away because they've lived there for such a long time, their kids inherit it, and then all of a sudden this rent control is gone for like 50 years, and the building is falling apart. It needs to be brought up to current market rate for the area to simply improve over time and for the landlord to have money to fix these things.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly, I don't talk about politics too much, but one reason I'm willing to talk about that is because I always rage against performative politics. It's a performative position. It sounds good. It feels good. It feels good to advocate for, fighting for the little guy. It has just never been enacted once in the history of literally any city that has been beneficial to the majority. Never. Not to keep off Austin, but one thing we do well here, no rent control. But we say, okay, if you're building an apartment complex, a small percentage have to be a part of this local government program that's affordable housing units. And if you don't, there's just a little extra tax. So most do it, then you apply through the local government and you get in. And it's been working. It's been helping people. That works instead of a blanket thing across the board that just f***s up the entire permitting process or just bad zoning laws in general. So that one pisses people off because you sound evil. You sound like you're pro-landlord when you're like, rent control actually doesn't work, but it just literally
I think it's just pro common sense.
You think so, but
that's all it is.
People, meh.
What other opinions do you have that would make people angry? Yeah, that are true about personal finance.
That are true about personal finance. You don't need a credit card. That wouldn't make people angry. Not entitled to go out to eat. That might piss some people off, right? It's like, you're not entitled to that. I would love you to. I hope you can fit it in the budget. Let's work together. Let's get you more money. Let's get your budget under control. But you're not entitled to go enjoy nice sushi or a McDonald's. So that might piss some people off. We have a lot of entitlement. You don't need to get the fancy, nice, perfect Whole Foods. And you can get the off-brand for a little bit. I off-branded in college on the cheap. It's not great. It's not the best for health either, but it worked. It kind of pisses people off when you say, I get a $10,000 car right now instead of going and getting a $30,000 car because they're like, well, I just started a family and it's so much safer. It's like, okay, well, were cars just insanely dangerous 3 years ago? I don't think so. I don't think everyone was dying that got in a car. So that sometimes pisses people off, but it is difficult because you need to take that car and actually get it checked out by a couple independent mechanics. I don't want you just walking out with a 30% interest rate loan on a $10,000 car that's worth $2 million and will break down in 2 days. Because when you say that, that's what people think you're trying to say. It's like, go get a piece of shit. It's like, no, you got to do your research, which means you might save more money by Ubering temporarily while you do your research. But people just have to go get the car immediately, and they want the safer car.
What about you?
It's probably also with the housing. I don't believe that corporate landlords are necessarily bad. I don't think they're driving up housing prices. And every piece of research has shown that they buy so little of the housing stock that it makes no difference whatsoever to the average person buying a house. But they are the biggest scapegoat out there that people like to point to, Blackstone, who's always confused with BlackRock, Blackstone going out there buying up single-family homes. Really what they're buying is rent-to-own communities that were built specifically for the purpose of renting. And if you remove that from the market, you actually hurt the market because you have less inventory out there. But they're the easiest to go after because it's like this faceless corporation who's buying up the houses when in reality, it has nothing to do with that. It was zero interest rates that froze a lot of people into the housing market. They're not building enough. And everyone's vying for a house because it's sold as the American dream. And that's what's actually driving up housing costs. But Blackstone or corporate institutional landlords are the easiest to blame because everyone just says, well, yeah, they shouldn't own a house. So it's just easy.
If I'm not mistaken, private equity that owns over 100 units owns less than 1% of single-family homes.
It's about 0.5% of single-family rentals.
Now, to play devil's advocate, there were a couple markets specifically in like the COVID boom, like Austin or what was it, Tampa, or even Atlanta, where they came in and they bought like 25% of the available stock at one time.
A lot of those were syndications, which were funded by a lot of everyday investors who thought that housing was a good thing to buy. I wouldn't say it's necessarily institutional money, but a lot of these syndicators, they just went out there and bought whatever they could on the market because raising money was so easy.
Yeah, that makes sense. It is the easiest scapegoat, though. It really is, because that's what Trump's executive order was. Instead of the most effective thing would be changing zoning laws around the country. Get rid
Also,
of minimum parking.
My understanding is that supply can be increased because of the amount of institutional money going into development, because a developer will not develop land unless if he knows for a fact that he'll have a buyer if he develops a neighborhood. And then a lot of the times they'll have a contract with the institutional money to then 100%, I know I have a buyer. So then they go and they actually develop the land and increase the supply by building homes. Otherwise, the developments wouldn't get made.
It should be the most bipartisan thing, honestly. R's and D's should get together. Everyone should be a YIMBY. Yes, in my backyard. Let developers build where demand is.
Here's another one. This is going to make people upset. I don't think that you are entitled to live anywhere just because you were raised there or your family has existed there for generations. I think it's really, really controversial. People hate this idea. I grew up in Southern California. It was extremely expensive. I could hardly live there. And then we moved to Las Vegas because it was much more affordable. So we actually left a more expensive place for a cheaper place. People argue, yes, it was tax savings. Like at the time, for me, it was financially difficult to live in California. For Graham, it was more opportunistic of like moving to Las Vegas and the opportunity there and the savings there. For me, it was like, okay, this is nice because I can kind of afford things better. But yeah, I think if you're born and raised in Manhattan, it's like Manhattan is just objectively expensive. You were blessed and lucky to be born and raised there in the first place. It's like you kind of have to earn the right to like live in an expensive place in the same way that in a city, there's an expensive neighborhood and a cheaper neighborhood. It's like you can go to the cheaper neighborhood if you cannot afford the most expensive neighborhood.
In fairness, I grew up in Santa Monica and I ended up for a while living in like a really, I don't want to call it like a...
It was an up-and-coming area, we'll call it.
Yeah, very up-and-coming. But that's where I bought because it made financial sense. I thought, hey, here's a space where I could rent out the other side. This works for me. I didn't need to live in Santa Monica at the time, but I did that. I paid my dues. I saved up. And then eventually I bought in Santa Monica.
Also, like, what makes you more entitled to live in Manhattan than someone who was born and raised in like a rural Montana? Like, they're both... No, you know, like it makes it harder for the person in Montana to move to Manhattan with that presumption.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to clip that, take it out of context and get really angry, but there's a absolutely truth to it because there's a lot of choices in life that lead you to your first rental, your first purchase. And I'm sorry, but if you grew up in a nice middle-class family in a nice area that you could afford, if you got a good degree and good job, but you went and chose to get an arts degree, that was your choice to get an arts degree that might not result in that high income that's required to live there. So that's not unfair. It's not unfair. It's brutal, but...
So what is your number one financial piece of advice of all time? Now, really quick, a key way to grow your business is just to realize that you don't have to handle everything alone because the fastest growing companies aren't the ones working longer. They're just delegating more effectively.
And that's where our sponsor Upwork can help. Upwork is a one-stop platform where you can find, hire, and pay expert freelancers in areas like software development, marketing, business operations, and more.
So rather than spending weeks recruiting or hiring someone full-time, you could quickly bring in specialized freelancers whenever you need them.
You can also browse profiles, review past work, and even get help defining the role so you can hire with confidence and get started quickly. Whether you need help for one project or ongoing support, Upwork connects you with experts in over 125 categories.
Upwork also handles the contracts and payments in one place. This reduces the hassle of managing operations so that you could focus on actually running your business.
Trust me, guys, I've actually used Upwork quite a few times by now, and it's an absolutely phenomenal resource if you're looking for any sort of freelancer work in any field. I genuinely highly recommend it. Upwork just makes the entire process easier, simpler, and way more affordable with industry low fees. Signing up is completely free, and posting a job is incredibly easy.
So visit Upwork.com right now to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help your business grow.
Once again, that is upwork.com, upwork.com. There's also a link down below in the description. Feel free to just click it right there. Thank you so much to Upwork for sponsoring this video. Do you remember that doctor's appointment you were supposed to make a while ago? The one that's been sitting on your desk for weeks, maybe months? Maybe it's an overdue annual checkup, the weird rash that you keep Googling, or it's your dentist reminding you it's been 2 years since your last cleaning. Trust me, we've all been there. Booking a doctor's appointment has always felt like such a hassle until now.
That's where our sponsor Zocdoc comes in. For those unaware, Zocdoc is a free app and website that allows you to search and compare high-quality, in-network doctors, and then you could book an appointment right away.
You can filter by insurance, location, and medical specialty, and you can also check verified patient reviews so you know what to expect.
Once you find the right doctor, you could see their real-time availability and then book an appointment that works around your schedule.
And don't worry, because appointments made through Zocdoc happen really fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking, and you can even score same-day appointments. So seriously, guys, stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to Zocdoc.com/ice to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today.
That is ZocDoc.com/iced, Zocdoc.com/iced with the link down below in the description. So what is your number one financial piece of advice of all time?
Compound growth. The earlier you start, the better. It's everything. I mean, I'm lucky enough to be able to see the return on it starting to really show its benefits, but you really got to get rid of that high interest debt and get in the market, man. You got to get in the market. Save on housing instead of getting a mortgage these days. Get a rental and invest. Please start investing, even if it's $50 here and there.
Hypothetical. Let's say someone has 20% interest on a credit card.
Oh,
At what point should they invest?
Once that's paid off. And I also wouldn't be throwing a ton of money to investing until I minimum had a 3-month emergency fund, preferably 6. So
if you were to distill down the best piece of financial advice, let's say the top 10 pieces of financial advice you've ever received, and you are going to provide the viewer with one singular piece of advice where if they listen to what you say, it will have the highest return in their life. We can all think about it and we're all going to give our answer. So I guess it would be 3 pieces of advice. What would you say yours is?
Stop being take some actual responsibility for the first time in your damn life. Some people come from situations and that sucks. But the vast majority of us in the highest disposable income major nation in the world have a lot of choices. Stop being grow up, take some accountability, and budget. Budget.
I would say just dollar cost average, low fee index funds, consistently for 30 years. That's it.
I would say spend less than you make.
Controversial. You'll get called a fascist for that one.
What?
You'd be surprised.
To say spend less than you make?
You'd be surprised.
So okay, so let's just the strongest counter argument. Spend more than you make. What would the argument for that be?
Well, you need that to survive. You should be able to go out and have a good time with your friends. You should be able to have the place you want to live in the city that you were born in.
If the desired result is financial freedom, then how will that get you there? It's like one or the other, right?
Well, in this capitalist society, that's evil.
Oh, I forgot.
So, should have used your thinking brain.
What do you think of the criticism that sometimes you're too harsh on the guests?
Yes, absolutely. Of course we are. 1, it's a show. 2, they come on and they literally ask for it and beg for it. I just filmed with a guest before this and I was like, do I have permission to make the title and thumbnail that you went through? And she's like, oh, please be crazy. It's like, so it's just like, I don't know, too harsh on a guest. Don't come on the show if you don't want it. Don't come on the show if you don't want it. Don't get offended on the behalf of someone who's not offended in the first place. And if this show's not for you, that's okay.
Now, we predicted that a while ago you're going in the direction of Jerry Springer.
Caleb Springer, thank you.
Caleb Springer. Isn't there a limit to just how far you could push things?
Yeah, and we're probably there. Like, we don't get anything we haven't gotten anything crazier than we've done in the last year. We've honestly, the show's been where it is today in the last year and a half. So it's very interesting because you'll get some of these in your comments right now. Some of the, I used to be a fan until you was too mean. I'll get, it goes on a cycle. For 3 weeks, I'll get Caleb's being more mean than normal, and Caleb's being nicer than normal. You should be meaner to that, guys. Caleb's being meaner than normal, nicer. It's an endless repeat. The show's been about the same for 1.5 years to 2 years. Even with the titles, our titles actually used to be more mean and whatnot. But since I embraced the Springer, now they're trying to throw a new insult at me, calling me Dr. Phil. So I guess I'm Caleb Phil. It's not as.
But where do you draw the line between like genuine helping them and just like bullying them?
Yeah, I mean, if we weren't seeing positive results in the end, because at least we track it analytically. Over 20,000 hours of bad debt paid off in 12 months is the average on the show. 10,000 in 10 months is the mean. So we get an annual report that we do surveying all our last guests. And if we were actually seeing negative impacts in people's lives, like, we would readjust behind the scenes.
What do you attribute that to? Do you think that's them coming on the show and in a sense is being a little humiliated? Or do you feel like the people that come on the show to begin with show a genuine interest in turning their life around?
They have a genuine interest. They come on the show with that intent. And a lot of times it's their first time they actually get a wake-up call and a fire under the butt, and especially when their episode goes live and they're seeing like, oh, this person's kind of financially. It's like they have that incentive. They want to do better. And there's many people that doesn't work for, but don't come on the show.
So
that's fine.
Is it just accountability where they go on the show and people call them out and now they feel like I have to make a change?
Yes, that's a part of it, but there is the other part as well where we've created a lot of educational resources. They get the DollarWise app for free. They get all of our classes in our Master Your Money program for free, which is 5 different in-depth, professionally curated personal finance courses. They get our course career certifications. They get access to a debit card that builds credit called Fizz. They get access to a lot of resources. Even on the extra special cases, I have them sit down with a CPA financial advisor. Or I've paid for people's therapy as well, if that's what they need. So we do go above and beyond. We answer their questions behind the scenes. So it's a lot of that. But when it comes back to the bullying versus actually helping, I think it's bullying if it was like a random person I'm pulling off the side of the street that knows nothing about the show. And I'm just like, ha, you shorty. Like, I'm not saying that, you know, it's like, it's people that signed up and people come in with a wish list of like my catchphrases. I don't know them, but they usually tell the producer like, oh, I hope he calls me, you know, a little or something. And I'm like, I don't know. It's a part of the fun of the show. They sign up for the fun. We have fun.
Walk us through the vetting process in terms of like finding the people, scanning through them, making sure they pass the checks.
Yeah.
Who talks to them beforehand? How does this even work?
Yeah, it's very in-depth. One, they apply either through the ad, but it's targeting people on the show, or they apply through the link in the description or through the website, calebhammer.com/apply. And we get hundreds a day, hundreds upon hundreds a day. When you guys first filmed with me, I think it was like 40 a day. Now it's hundreds. They immediately go into a spreadsheet with all the information they give. Our casting team of 3 people look over them, start putting people into a column of, oh, we're interested in this, whether it's their story or whether it's their finances, but both have to be good in the end. Then it goes to our initial touch point. She's in one of our call pods all day, just making those initial touch points and saying, hey, you applied. Are you actually interested in coming on the show? You know, the show's kind of crazy. Are you sure you want to deal with all that? You know, okay, give me some information about your finances. Can you send me your documents? Here's a couple questions I had about your application. It's a quick 10-minute phone call, just seeing if they're interested and they're actually valid. Then they get off the call with that. And then we actually capture their financial documents if that call went well. So we review those to see if their finances are interesting enough to come on the show. Then whatever casting producers assigned to that episode, we have 2, Colton and Lindsay. They will have in-depth conversations with them, talking about their entire lives, their entire finances, things they don't want to talk about, and honestly putting the fear of God into them, that they are going to be roasted upon roasted, that they are going to be memed upon memed and be seen by millions and be commented and all these different things, titles and thumbnails. So they have usually a 4 to 5 hour or 6 hour, depending on the conversation, talk with the guests. Then we send them our first onboarding video where it goes with, hey, I'm glad we accepted you to come on the show, but you need to know a couple things. You're going to get memed on. You're going to be seen by millions. You're going to get roasted. Your personal finances are on display. You need to tell us or actually start thinking right now about things you do not want to be on the show, because we're going to need you to tell us once you come here. And also, don't come on if you're not comfortable. If you're not comfortable with this, just let us know. Let us know now. It's okay. You don't have to come here. It's fine.
Could you give us examples of things that people have asked not to talk about?
OnlyFans for men all the time. Lots of direct family things. People will say loans from family instead of like it's from mom, it's from this. Certain past traumas that they don't want to talk about, which are fair. And and because people bring those up when you asked earlier what we cut for people, sometimes it's some of those things that might be a little embarrassing. We're like, ooh, I don't know if I'd want my situation to be out. So we cut that for them later. So usually things like that. We also check in the process, I forgot to mention, like egregious mental health things. If people obviously can't make good decisions for themselves, or people have horrible traumas that might be triggered from this, we're like, hey, you cannot come on, or like, hey, this is like, this might trigger some, you probably shouldn't come on. We give them that advice as well, the producers.
What % of people drop out through the vetting process?
I actually don't know at this point, because luckily I've delegated. I have such an incredible team at this point of 30 plus people at Hammer Media that luckily I don't have to be a part of that process as much. So I don't know.
And what % of the episodes that you film do you choose to not post?
Almost none these days. Almost none. Or everything. we have so many people applying that we pretty much know we have a good uploadable episode these days. So much so that we've become so confident that we only film 3 a week now, even though we post 3 a week.
Wow.
It used to be 4, but now we do 3. We have a month's backlog, a full month of uploads. So 4 weeks, 3 episodes.
How much are you working?
A lot, and a lot off hours as well. Everyone's here 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. We'll do some Saturdays here and there for some random things like members audits or a long live stream. And then I work off hours. I have a little passion project right now on a documentary channel I'm doing, but I'm doing that on my own time. The DollarWise stuff is pretty crazy. It's been hectic, you know.
Like how many hours would you say per week?
Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. 50 for me.
Okay.
50 for me.
That's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad. I brought it down, and I really tried to give more time for girlfriend, because that's important. You don't keep girlfriend around if you don't give time to girlfriend.
We're going to talk about the girlfriend a little later, because I got some questions about this. But do you ever worry in terms of the show that sometimes the entertainment overshadows the help or the financial aspect of it?
No, personally, because there's thousands of shows out there. Money Guy has a great show that is education first. Ramsey's a good mixture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a slop consumer, so I love slop. Me and my girlfriend, we watch all the 90 Day Fiancé shows. We love that show. I love it. So I love having some of the drama, some of the tea. But it's also a great way, as silly as it is, in the first part of the episode, maybe even first half now, it's like more of that kind of stuff and until it gets into the documents. But it's actually benefited me a lot, not only because it's fun, but because I really get to know them. And I'm able to challenge them on a lot of their they talk about because of everything I got to know first. And it gives a really big baseline understanding of their life, their history, their relationships, and things that got them in that financial situation. But don't get me wrong. I mean, we totally could. And again, this is some of the complaints you'll have in the comments right now. Like, oh, I used to be a day one fan, I think is what they're called. And I don't like how the show's become. Like, yeah, that's fine. And we have the analytics behind it. Luckily, the vast majority of original subscribers are still happy and watching. But either way, yeah, I mean, it's moved to more fun. One, I do not think I could do a show this frequently if I wasn't having a good time. I really don't. I don't think there's just, I wouldn't be incentivized to do it. So I'm going to have fun doing this. My team's going to have fun doing this. Guests are going to have fun doing this. But then on the help part, again, if the analytics weren't there about guests getting help, then I would actually reassess what we're doing. Luckily, they get better and better every single year. And we are getting nothing but positive experiences from guests these days. Like, you know, a couple years ago when it was less crazy or even when I got my first producer and he was a really bad hire, there was like a couple guest experiences where they weren't as happy afterwards. But so if things weren't looking good, I would be concerned there. Okay. But I have fun. We like to have fun. I support the Caleb Springer and the Slop. And Money Guy is a great resource. I am friends with Brian and Bo if you want strictly finances.
What's your favorite and least favorite part of your job?
Favorite. Love working on anything on the business end. That's what I really like working on. I like scaling this thing, the DollarWise, the educational programs we're doing. Caleb Hammer Live was fun for a second. We're revamping that after I got a little naughty. And working on it's my fun. It is the most fun to me building something from nothing. Financial audit is still fun to do, especially on once I'm deep in the episode or we're making titles and thumbnails and it's going live and I get to manage that. But financial audit itself isn't as fun as everything else because it's already successful. So I can't get in there and just like make it crazy. I don't get to really lock in and go hard. There's a whole team. It's a well-running machine. My least favorite job, and this is more just being an introvert, is actually coming in to film a financial audit. Because I don't know that person. I've never met that person. I hope the episode's going well, but I got to get to know this person. I don't really like getting to know people. This is not a part of my personality. We're going to dinner with someone later. I don't know this dude. Like, it's going to take me a second to kind of come out of my shell. I'm just that introverted kind of person. So the first 15, 20 minutes of filming is actually my least favorite part. But then I love the second half of filming once I know them.
And what about the drama? Like, how are you always in the epicenter of some drama? I feel like
there's something going on.
Wait, on the internet?
Yes.
Yes. I see you on
I'm
Twitter.
Controversial.
Yeah, but I see you on
Twitter.
I'm like,
YouTube,
what is Caleb doing on Twitter? Because people are here accusing you. Look at this right-wing grifter. Look at this left-wing grifter. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. You're just always wrapped up in some sort of drama.
Well, it's interesting. On Caleb Hammer Live, where we talked about more relevant topics, I took left-wing positions and right-wing positions, which means right-wingers thought I was left-wing and left-wingers thought I was right-wing. I'm not the classic centrist, I'll never take an opinion. No, but I'll go either way depending on where the facts are, for me. So that makes everyone angry. And also, I'm controversial. We say, I say, that upsets some people. That's upset some of the slop commentary community that kind of copies and pastes the same arguments, even though they're not really good over and over again.
Why say those things? Because I feel like you could get 99.99% of the result without calling someone
It's not the result. It's honestly...
It's just you.
Kind of. It is a part of the humor I like. I love the outrage humor. I love going to stand-up shows in Austin. And the stand-up community in Austin is a bit more edgy. And I love that edgy. I love edgy. This most I get from this daily basis is still edgy, being edgy as fuck, getting people's outrage in a group chat from 10 years ago. Like, oh, crazy. It's like, that's just me. I love being edgy. And that is not for everyone. But one thing I learned in reflecting from, kind of reacting and being upset at those people being offended, through friend of the show, Nicholas Diorio, great commentary, creator. He was like, why be worried about these people being upset at what you're saying? You're never going to win them over. They're never going to be the fans of your show, and they're never going to like the jokes you do. Why care?
But why do you respond to some of these?
Well, I did. And then he said that, and I listened to that. I was like, oh, he's right. Like,
when was this?
A few weeks ago, a couple weeks ago.
So it was until a few weeks ago that you just...
Yeah.
Okay. Because it seems like sometimes you have this visceral reaction where if someone comes at you with something, you respond to it and you kind of pour gasoline. Yeah.
I'm an over-the-top person. I mean, I am. And people said I crashed out too, which is interesting because if they ever watched the show, that's just the energy from that show. But of course, because it was so long, the 4-hour thing I did, no one actually watched that to hear my points. They only saw who I was responding to selectively clipped. So it was fine. Whatever. I accept it. I'm taking it on the chin. But it's just like, I do have there is sportsmanship in it. I do have some fun with it, for what it's worth. I like a good battle. But Diorio was right. It's like, they're never going to be fans of the humor and jokes. Why cater to them? Why try to win them over? It's fine.
So
live and let live.
Throw you into some more drama. Who is it worse to have more hate coming from, the right or the left?
Right now, the left. I would have been more afraid of the right during the Obama days because they're scary. The right was scary during the extremists. I hate extremists, but right now, those communities like the slop commentary that copy and paste the same videos over and over again, their audiences are vicious. The DMs I've gotten, the comments I've gotten,
what do they say? Telling
me to kill myself and all this. It's crazy. I've never seen it. They're vicious, and that doesn't mean I think the left wing is vicious, but I think the far left can be pretty vicious online. It's like if you disagree with 0.5% of the things, they'll throw you from the community. So those creators eat each other alive all the time. You see it in all the big dramas between Hassan, Destiny, Ethan. They'll eat each other alive for not even these
race
crazy
to the bottom,
disagreements.
Basically.
Yeah. So I mean, it's gonna go back and forth. I mean, if I pissed off the far right, I might be afraid because they're probably the ones with but the most vicious attacks I've gotten have been from the far left. But I'm not scared or nervous of the normal left or normal right. Because those people are fine. I meet them every day on the show and out in Austin. When they come up and say hi, it's like, we might not agree on everything, but I'm a big fan of the show. And I'm like, you don't even know what I believe because I don't say it. But it's fine. Everyone's cool. But the extremists are scary.
Do you think the people that come on your show are more left-leaning or right-leaning? And does that have any indication of how good they are with personal finances?
And I'll say this to the people that come on the show that are left-leaning, they embrace it on the show. Everyone that's come on the right, they say, I don't want to talk about politics on the show. That's my no-go. So you'll never know they're on the right.
Huh.
They're kind of pussies about it. People on the left are willing to come on the show and they're willing to just put it on full display. So it's easier to meme on because they actually talk about it. People that have come on the right, they're like, I don't want to talk about it.
Why do you think that is?
Well, there was definitely back in the 2020 times, if you had a right-wing position, there's, potential nervous at workplace about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not where we are anymore. So I don't know why they're pussies.
Do you think it's completely swapped from that?
Or if you have a left-wing opinion, consequences at work?
No, where either way, or let's just say you're sharing a conservative opinion in the workplace. Do you think that it's completely acceptable now?
I mean, honestly, I don't know. We have people, we have like far leftists and people pretty right on that work here, and we don't give a shit. But I don't know. I can't speak for everyone. I know our culture is at least corrected from that era of like the hyper analyzing everyone. And Twitter and TikTok still tries to.
Yeah.
They think they're powerful, but sponsors don't care about them anymore. Jobs don't care about them anymore. They have no impact.
Who do you think is worse with money, the left or the right?
Usually when it comes to people that have come on the show,
Correct.
the left, people on the left on the show tend to be worse.
What would you say is a percentage? Like 70% left, 30% right, or is it like 60-40?
Yeah, shit. Maybe like 70 to the left. I don't know if that applies out in the real world,
Yeah.
but I mean, ideology, and I hate ideologies, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But ideology, the right does tend to be more personal responsibility. So that, kind of personal finances fits easier in that than the left.
Yeah.
So
Have you ever filmed an episode and then watched it back and thought that you went too far?
yeah, because we filmed this live for us, right? And if I'm having a bad day, it comes across. It legitimately does. I watched episodes where I'm like, why was I so soft on that person? What the f is wrong with you? I was being a pussy. So yeah, absolutely, for sure. Where I've gone too in on someone for no reason. We used to have more of those when I was doing double days, filming in the morning and afternoon. So glad we don't do this anymore, because my afternoon episodes, I was much more on the edge.
What do you think people should call you out about? Because you call them out about
I'm a
stuff.
fat. So I'm telling people to get their personal finances under control, but I'm a fat. I don't need to be trying to scale the business in the way I can. I could just be happy collecting a YouTube check. Don't need to get a big building with a big lease and all these employees and whatnot. Whenever I post a company picture, people are like, why does a YouTube channel need this many people? And it's relatively fair, but I like to pay well. I like to scale this thing. And it's okay. When people say I'm too mean or the titles and thumbnails are bad, they're not wrong. This is not for them. And that's okay. Like, it's okay. Don't come on the show. Don't watch the show. When I don't like something, I don't watch it. I don't go on the shows I don't like. If I didn't like your guys' show, I wouldn't be on the show. So it's like, that's not inherently a wrong opinion to have. I don't agree with it because I come from not being offended by everything, but it's fine. They could criticize me on that.
What's your overhead?
Ooh, chunky. She's chunky. She's chunky. Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands of
Wow.
dollars a month.
Yeah.
And what do you do?
I think about $300,000.
$300,000 a month.
I think.
What do you do to make sure that your employees are investing? Or do you just have to learn to not care about that?
That my employees are investing
Yeah.
in their job?
No. Investing like personal finance, like buying
Oh,
stocks.
that's on them, man.
I've always
we
noticed.
provide a 401k match
Yeah.
to encourage it.
Does everyone in your organization agree to it?
Do they take it? I don't know. I don't ask. I don't want to get that personal into their...
Yeah, it might not be
Finances.
Caleb's place to tell people.
I mean, I guess it's
HR
different.
probably
It's
knows.
different for us because we kind of like work with a lot of our friends.
Yeah.
And so like I feel somewhat like I feel passionate about making sure that like, hey, like if one of our contractors, person we take jobs with is not investing some of their money, like, hey, like I'm annoying with it. I'm like, you should maybe consider doing a dollar cost average into a low cost index fund. And so I feel passionate about it, but I'm just curious, as someone who employs a lot of people, is this not really something that you think about?
For the majority, no. I mean, I've become friendly and close with some.
Mm-hmm.
And, we have individual conversations for fun. Or we roast each other's financial decisions. But no, for the vast majority. But we encourage it. We encourage it with a 401k match. I don't remember if it's 3 or 4%, but I hope they're doing well. Good luck. We certainly pay them enough to do well.
This is a near impossible question, but what percentage of someone's financial status is a result of their behavior or the environment that they're in?
Behavior will pull harder in the end. Behavior will pull harder, but you could come from a situation that you have to give 10 times the behavior than any of us have been through to actually pull yourself out. If you're in the projects of Flint, Michigan or something, that's hard. If you had lead in your water and you have some, deficiencies because of that, that's hard. Not as much behavior comes from that. But I think for the vast majority of Americans, where people are not going hungry, our poorest people are fat, behavior is going to be the bigger determining factor for the majority. But there are situations in full Povertyville, West Virginia, Appalachia, that is going to be difficult. And that is going to be harder than any situation that anyone else is going through. Going through being in a town where 80% of the jobs, 80% of the people went away, heroin came through and up a lot of the town. That's going to be hard.
Which situations are excusable then? Like you said, the Appalachia.
Yeah, I mean, it's more excusable. It's more understandable, I should say, than excusable. Because I think once someone gets over the ignorance and knows what they have to do, if they know what they have to do and they've laid out the path of how to get there and they're choosing not to, then that's just them choosing to a certain extent. But it's understandable than excusable, more than excusable.
I had a debate with a friend. What would you do if you were a person in like rural Appalachia that has no opportunity? It's an opportunity desert.
Yeah.
Or let's say you're in Flint, Michigan. Let's say you're just in a place, not a big city, rural environment, not many job opportunities, not great education. What do you do?
Join a gang.
Okay, and then?
Honestly, probably that's where you get.
And then scale up to be the kingpin?
I mean, that's a genuine, real answer in a lot of, maybe not Appalachia, but in more urban, poor places. That's where community is. That's where money is. That's where resources is.
Okay, no.
I'm not advocating for it, but I can.
No, but like, okay, but what should you do? I'm not saying like what's the result.
What should you do?
Yeah.
Okay, what should you do?
I meant like what should you? I don't know if it came off that way, but
that's what I thought.
Oh, okay. A couple different avenues. Certainly the buckle down. If your school system sucks, it's hard. But usually states do allow those poorer school districts. If you're in like a top percentage, you might get automatic enrollment and whatnot into some universities. So really buckling down the best you can do, get good grades in school, and try to get the f*** out of there. Military is a decent option. Kind of sucks. People equate it to like the Hunger Games just to get college education. I don't necessarily see it as that, but it is an option for anyone and everyone who grows up in these communities, as long as, you're keeping healthy, keeping straight. So those are two decent, not perfect, easier said than done answers. And not as fun as joining a gang.
In terms of having couples on the show, who should pay on the first date?
I'll pay on the first date if I think there's a future there.
You know what I always think is a good thing to do is that you kind of pay on the first date, but then what you could do is throw out like, actually, let's do dinner, and you get the dinner, and then you could throw out, there's actually a really good dessert spot like down the street. How about this? I'll get dinner, you get the dessert. And the dessert's not going to be like a big thing. It's just going to be like, $10. Yeah, and it just shows that like, hey, it's, it doesn't have to be a 50-50, but like you get the dessert. Or like, how about this? I get the first 2 rounds of drinks, you get the third. And it's just like a little something.
So you say that. You will verbally say that.
Yeah.
To give the honest answer, I mean, I was trying to give a fun answer, but to give the honest answer, usually I just take care of the bill because, okay, I have money, it's fine. But what I like to have done historically is split the bill on the first date until we know kind of where we're going.
And you say it.
Yeah, I'm just like, hey, I like to split the bill on the first date because, it's just like, we're both here. Who knows what, whatever. So it's like, let's split it.
And do you think that is a pretty good rule that most should apply?
I think for a first date, because you don't know if like the other person's just trying to, I don't think people just go on dates for free meals anymore, do they?
No.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure it exists, but my thought is for a woman to spend time with a stranger, it's not worth it. And then
unless if it's like a 3 Michelin star, like I could see that.
But even then, for someone to like put the time and effort into like getting ready, vet someone, make sure they're not a stalker or a creeper, like all the time that they put into that is not worth a free meal.
I'll be honest, this is the most I've ever thought about this because it really doesn't matter. But I guess who gives a? Can that be the real answer?
To some people, this could be a very important question.
When should you bring up finances if you're dating?
Before moving in, at the latest. Before you move in
When's
with each
the
other.
earliest?
Depends how fun you are. People I've gone on dates with in the past few years, because they know who I am or they look me up, they'll like bring it up in a cheeky way. In the beginning, like, oh, by the way, I don't have any credit card debt and that kind of stuff. So, but for like the normal person, I think past the official stage, 1 month official seems easy.
Past the official stage, so you've already committed to the person, and then you bring up
you're
finances?
committing not to others, really, in the end, right? If you're kind of going official,
I think third date.
Yeah.
Their date.
Oh, wait, to bring up any
Yes.
finances at all?
Yeah.
What extent? What level?
Just like how good they are with money. And you could bring it up gently.
Third
Like,
date.
oh, yeah, where'd you go to college? Oh, man, that's a great school. How'd you finance that? Did you pay for it? Or like,
Third. No.
or you could say, hey, by the way, what's in your wallet? And you could say, here's how you could bring it up. You could say, listen, someone's wallet actually tells a lot about them. What's in their wallet? Can I see?
Well, yeah,
Dude,
if you want to manipulate them.
What are you talking about?
If they're a
And then-
moron, they'll believe that's what you're asking about.
No.
If they are
And then,
dumb,
and then
like,
all of a sudden you take out the credit cards. You're like, oh, wait. Oh, you have the Amex Platinum. Oh, that's interesting. What was your first Amex card?
it's
Do you
been
use
way
the
too long
points?
since Graham's been like out of the dating pool. Clearly.
Does that not work?
What even is that, dude? Like, I feel like if a girl's like, if you're
Mhm.
trying to like show off that you have an Amex Platinum, that is the
no,
maximally
no.
cringy thing.
I'm not showing mine. I'm just saying for the other person. I say this to them. What's in your wallet says a lot about you.
Have
And
you
she'll
actually
be like,
done that?
I should no. But I'm
Okay,
just saying,
well, there
but-
we go.
but
What
it
are we
would
even
work.
talking about then? If you're saying stuff you've
But I'm
never
just
done.
saying it would
Like-
work. It would work.
Okay,
Mm.
let's just say to have a conversation of like, how much are you earning? What kind of debt do you have? What is your
Oh,
financial goal?
Okay, what kind of debt, financial goals? Month in. Let's call it a month or two in.
A month into being official.
Yeah, that's fine. In terms of like, what's your job? I think, that's an easy first date.
And do you think it's a necessity to have that conversation early on? Because you talk with a lot of people that are in relationships in financial duress.
I would try to get like little niblets along the way to just see if they're responsible. Because they could be financially, but a relatively responsible person that wants to get out of it. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Someone doesn't need to be wealthy or doing well, but if they're just endlessly irresponsible, of which you pick up clues along the way, that's a easy red flag to be like, okay, well, let's not commit any further to this.
And so you have a girlfriend now. How long
Yeah.
until you guys had that conversation?
I don't remember. Again, I think with my situation, it cheekily came up a lot quicker. So honestly, probably in the first few dates.
And how long have you been talking to her?
We've been official for a year and 6 days.
And does she pay for anything?
No.
So it is beyond that.
Yeah, it's because, I don't see the purpose. She tries to, she offers to, but I'm like, there's no point.
When's the last time you let her pay for something?
She bought me a Valentine's Day gift.
What about on like Christmas or like a
Yeah,
birthday?
she got me a Christmas. Yeah, those are a little
Well, no, just
different.
like a date. Like you guys are going out on a date.
Man, I don't remember.
What
I
about you, Graham?
Oh gosh, Macy's all the time.
Really?
But she sneaks it. So we'll go out to dinner, and then she'll be like, hold on, I got to go to the bathroom, and come back, and the bill is paid. And this is not a one-off.
Graham's like the best date ever.
It's awesome. But I always offer for everything, but sometimes it's just she is quicker or very sneaky, or when I even anticipate and I'll try to do it, even the server's like, hey, sorry, it's already been taken care of. And there's even been a few times where this has happened and the server's like, no, someone else has paid. I'm like, neither one of us? Yes, someone else paid for your bill. A subscriber.
Interesting.
So there have been times out there where we've gone out to eat and I feel bad because then I'm like, I don't even know who it was.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
So then it's neither one of us.
See, Graham does not
Yeah.
see that as a bummer.
Yeah.
Caleb's like, that's a bummer. Graham's like, I don't know about that. Yeah.
Actually.
I don't know. I like to cover it. I'm not very like trad or traditional and a lot of things like that, but I don't know. That's nice.
So what are the red flags that you see in couples when it comes to money?
When each other don't know each other's financial situation, because there's no one who comes on this show that isn't at least in the position where they should have that talk, where they have a completely different worldview on goals, spending, desires, where they want to be as a couple. It's like, if you are not even aligned on that, what are we doing? Get aligned or get the out. And then the next one would be just like not knowing where the other one's spending is going and immediately throwing accusations to the other person's way. Like, you're spending on this, or you're spending on this. It's like, why are we looking at it like this? Why are we just trying to come together and get better together and hold each other accountable instead of just trying to throw each other under the bus?
What about success in relationships in situations where there's a big income gap? If the guy makes a lot more than the girl, or the girl makes a lot more than the guy, what have you noticed there?
Well, on the big gaps, we've had a couple times where the lower income person, which I think both times is actually the woman, which is kind of unfair, jealousy. Some weird jealousy there. Don't really like that. One person, she chose to get a degree. She gets paid less. and her boyfriend chose to become an engineer. He's a piece of shit, by the way, but either way, regardless of that part, chose to become an engineer, makes a lot more money. And she's like, well, I went to school for more. He just got a certification and he makes more. And I'm like, okay, but you chose to do this. You can look into the data. That was really weird. Definitely some jealousy. Then we've also had some like stay-at-home, mostly women, but I think we've had a couple stay-at-home guys as well. And they like to be the spenders while the other one's the earner. Big fans of that.
And what about combining finances? Would you recommend that for most relationships? And will you do that?
For most, I don't know. I mean, I'll do it. I'll do it if she wants to, I guess. I mean, it's personal finances. It works for some, it works for others. It sounds like it doesn't work for you guys from what you just said, because if she's paying for it, it means she has her own money and you guys are married. So, and that's fine. I think it just really depends on the relationship. As long as I think we're aligned on goals, we know where we're trying to get, we're being responsible, that's okay. I think a good healthy middle ground is maybe a couple separate accounts, but everything goes into one joint where things aren't really spent, but then it's divided from there. Bills and then personal spending.
What about prenuptials? Do you plan on getting
income divide? Yeah.
Do you plan on getting a prenup?
Yeah, she knows that.
Yeah. And how early do you have that discussion?
I told her pretty damn quick. I mean, just big income divide. It's just gonna happen. It's just gonna happen. Things just get messier. Things get weird. It's just cleaner that way.
So when it comes to that, what's a financial mistake that you make?
My rental properties. I mean, it's not that I.
Do you still have them?
I'm exiting them. I made money. I make decent money. I would have made so much more money being in the market instead of focusing on that. I really
sell those things as soon as possible.
I am.
The last time that I think we talked, I was telling you to sell those rentals, right?
Yeah, I don't remember.
There was a condo. There's something worth like $500,000. I said sell it.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Because you said you were going to be either break even or barely cash flow negative on it, and you didn't want to give up the mortgage, I believe.
Yeah, that was on the condo specifically. I did exit that pretty quickly. But my rental properties back in my home state, I'm fully exiting them, and I'm just putting the money in the market. So that was a financial mistake. I mean, I definitely move a lot. You know, buy, sell. But
are you losing money on your house?
The current house that I'm in right now, while my new house is under renovation, I will probably break even.
So you bought a house while your house is being renovated?
No. The house that I live in now is the house you guys have been to that I've had for a few years.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I've had a house for a little bit in like my dream neighborhood, essentially. But it's been a renovation kind of mess. So it's been taking a while.
But on your other house that we've been to,
are
you losing money on that? When you sell it, will you break even?
When I sell it, it will be break even. At best. Maybe a little loss, but not much.
And if someone were to look through your personal finances as an audit, what would they criticize?
Oh, well, this is interesting because we talk about low-cost index funds. I mean, I use the money guys as their financial services. They're my wealth managers. I decided to go with them in the end.
Why do you need a wealth manager? I feel like you are smart enough and in it with finances that you could just buy an index fund, one fund, and be done with it.
Which I could, and I'm down for. Luckily, it's just like their fees are very, very tiny. So I'm really not losing much. Taking advantage of some tax loss harvesting is nice. It's good to have someone in your corner when you get to that next level. And for me, it came down to our conversation. It's not as extreme as whether or not starting that burger restaurant or taking them out, starting that franchise. But I want to put all my energy into this business. I want to put all of my energy into growing DollarWise. I don't want to think about my investments. I don't need to think about diversification and international to what is Bitcoin doing, what's happening here, what's happening there. I don't want to think about that. They're the experts. I'm letting them work on it. Letting Brian and Bo and my boy.
What are they investing in?
I mean, it's mostly just replicating the market, if we're being honest.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. Right now, though. Right now. We have an ultimate goal we're trying to get to within a couple of years. But
so with all the success that you've had, do you still finance your furniture?
No.
You paid it off.
Well, I'm going to get new furniture in the new house. I might finance that.
And what is the logic?
What is the logic? No, I'm not going to finance it. At this point, I'm not. I doubt I'm going to finance it. But
has your relationship with money changed?
My fear's gone down substantially because I hit that minimum goal that we talked about. I think our first time. Once I hit that, a lot of the conversation is, does the goal just change? Well, the goal changed, but my safety net goal did not. Once I hit that, I was like, oh, I'm good.
Can you say what that goal was?
what was it, 5 million, I think?
And why did you pick 5 million?
You know, it was actually talking to the money guys.
Mhm.
It was talking to the money guys. Yeah. That's just what they said is my safe line when they did the audit on me. And I was like,
Okay.
I just kind of went with it. I
Yeah.
just went with them.
I'll tell you what you have to do next, because at your goal level, your risk does not decrease. And what you have to protect against at this point are lawsuits,
Yeah.
health, and any sort of personal accident that could derail that. And so
Yeah.
now you have to protect against that.
Yeah, lawsuits really the only thing we're doing pretty well with. Great contracts, tying up the best lawyers, and insurance is up the butt. So that's good. Health, I am skinnier since the last time you guys met me, but it's not as significant as it should be, for what it's worth.
So how did you arrive to the 5 million number?
The money guys suggested once you get 5, you're chilling, and they laid out a full plan. It's like, yeah.
What was the justification?
What was the justification? It's like, shit, I don't remember. It was a couple years ago. I just always move on to the next thing more than. Fuck, I'm trying to get an answer, is it? I don't know. Once they set a goal for me, these people that are my friends, that I respect, I'm a very goal-oriented person. Since I put that on my radar, that was just it. That was it. It might not be as perfectly logical as we want it to be.
And how has the relief that you've expressed itself?
Good. I'm willing to take more risk, willing to hire more people, willing to do more things, willing to, like, if this is as far as I get, that's fine. Now I'm going to throw it on the table.
And so you've just increased your expenses to make life more comfortable.
Yeah. This studio, well, less about that, but this studio, it's expensive. We spent a lot of money on this studio. We pay really good wages. Our overhead is crazy. It's probably higher than $300 a month. It must be. Really just doubling down on the business.
And it's just been an easier decision since you feel like you have this guaranteed safety.
Because I could have just siphoned all the money, you know? I could have just siphoned. But I
Do
decided
you feel
to
like
double
you've
down.
made more because you've invested so much more into the business?
Luckily, yes. Now that DollarWise is very successful because it has like made waves through the budgeting market. Yeah, no, it paid great.
What happened to the DollarWise app?
Yeah, when it first launched, that was woo! So one thing I learned for all you people growing a business right there, third-party contractors when building something from scratch, not always the best thing to do. It is cheaper, it is easier, it is less scary. They probably know what they're doing, but build in-house, do the investment. If you're actually confident in what you're doing, build it in-house, because that's what we've had to do these last like 7-8 months is rebuild everything from house. So we launched with the contractors, a complete disaster. They wouldn't fix things on time. It was fucked. They launched a simpler budget. We got a copyright issue. It was almost a lawsuit. Had to switch it to a simpler budget or DollarWise before we made any app fixes. Luckily, my team came in. We hired them, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, put all my money back towards them. They fixed the app to where in the past like 3 months, 4 months, the app's been good. It's all the issues are fixed. But it hasn't been that app that's like uberly competitive against all the other budgeting apps. So what they've been working on the last 6-7 months, especially with all the new technology that exists today, is building this big 6.0 launch that is happening right after we film this. And it's going to be incredible. I'm so excited to see how it competes against the Monarch. Monarch's like the big one right now, but against all the other top dogs right now with the great level of insights people are getting into their money that's automated. More than any other budgeting app, actually giving you those tools and insights in your Insights tab. I'm just so excited to see what happens.
Do you worry that potentially the app is at risk if like a ChatGPT or a Gemini came out with a financial AI that could basically integrate already and then give you like real-time insights and suggestions immediately for free?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I know even Grok itself and what is it, Perplexity? I think they have like a finance mode. So there are things like that, and that's a conversation. But I think people like having an app they trust with their data, because I don't know if people trust their data with AI. So a company that doesn't sell data actually protects data, and that's what we've promised to do. And that actually connects with these great third parties, like Plaid and whatnot, to sync their accounts automatically instead of having, you're like, okay, what's the update, GPT? Okay, what's going on now? What's going on now? Here's a question, So we already give you the insights. Everything's automatic. It's all done for you. And it's built in a way for a human to use, not like what a chat bot thinks you want to hear in the moment. But someday, honestly, probably. And we have a pivot in mind
Okay.
in about a year.
What's the end goal for DollarWise?
I mean, I want to build it into not only the best budgeting app, potentially go into the world of some banking, potentially go into, I want to scale it into a multi-$100 million business. I want to employ a lot of people, and I want to create an app that actually changes people's lives more than the show does.
What's the primary motivator at this point? Because you have more than enough money right now. I would assume if you wanted to step away from YouTube, would you be fine to do so?
Yeah, oh, for sure.
So you could live a perfectly quality life with all the money that you have saved up and invested.
I think so.
So if it's not then to get to like a different level of wealth, to access different things in life, then what is the motivator?
You know, it's interesting. I just saw a clip from your episode that was just released with a streamer I've never heard of, no offense to him. But you asked him if he would step away with $20 million or something. He said, no, he'd be bored. I'd be bored. I love building shit. I love working with people. I love having an impact positively on the world. Some people don't agree with it, and that's okay. We don't care about their opinion. They're, whatever. That's their choice. But I want to leave an actual resource and legacy that helps people. I really do.
But would you walk away for $100 million post-tax?
No. Billion? Maybe.
$1 billion maybe?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So where does most of your revenue come from today? How is it broken down? As Jack would say, the pie chart.
DollarWise has played a big catch-up. For the vast majority of last year, it was financial audit driven by AdSense and sponsorships. Memberships really took off last year. That's been huge. That pulls some pretty heavy weight. But now DollarWise is so substantial. I'd say it's about still 40% YouTube, 20% sponsors, and then the rest comes from the mixture of our educational programs and DollarWise.
One thing that we had discussed on this podcast, every time we've had you on so far, you have said that you are still deathly afraid of dying poor on the Walmart floor.
Yeah, not anymore because I hit that goal. I mean, that was a big part of it. That was a huge part of it.
So it was as simple as setting a goal, achieving the goal, and then that's it?
Yeah, because $5 million, I mean, it's more money than most people can imagine, but it doesn't give you like a huge, crazy life for the rest of your life. Not by any means. But I can feel comfortable that I can get my shit together for a long time. I can get my shit together. Because I can always work. I can always figure out things to do. I've always accepted that I might have to go get another normal, regular job post-YouTube once I got into this thing.
So transparently, I've had this goal for a very long time, and it's the exact same as what you said. It's like $5 million. And I feel right now like I need to race as fast as I can to hit that. And then once I hit that, it's so funny you mentioned this because it is so directly applicable to my life. Once I hit that, then at that moment, I can then start spending to make my life a little bit more comfortable. And similar to what you did, I would love to hire on more editors and hire on more producers so we can actually, obviously our profit would go down.
Yeah.
But then we would take, exactly, the maybe is it's the unknown. Hopefully, our profit would go up. But the risk of doing that, I don't know if it's worth it when right now, like we can still remain profitable and I can still continue to like save as much as I can until I hit that net worth. So it's interesting to see that you actually, as soon as you hit it, the mentality did change. If you could go back in time, would you have started to elevate your lifestyle and spend more back into the business before you hit that 5 million? Or do you think it was necessary to have that confidence once you hit it?
Yeah, I definitely don't regret anything, but since I know it all worked out, I would have put more into the business, not lifestyle.
Do you think
I still
it was
don't
important
live a crazy life
to get the confidence, like the through and through confidence once you hit that number?
Yeah, it was nice. It just allowed me to step the foot on the gas on everything else, instead of being so afraid of everything. So why aren't you at 5?
Yeah, that's hard.
It is hard.
People don't realize like
it's difficult, but is it because Graham didn't pay you anything when you started?
That was
No, because I mean
that was it because I made
I'm trying to start some shit.
No, because I made Jack work for free.
Yeah.
For such a long time that the
Such a
early
long
years
time.
of compounding have just caught up to him.
I would have had
Can't
one
do
extra
it.
year. I think I didn't work for free. I mean, for a little bit, like months, but it wasn't anything.
No,
I
I'm
was
kidding.
like,
I'm trying to.
But
I'm fucking.
I mean, I'm not at 5 because people don't
Dude,
don't
it's
realize
hard.
It's saving up money post-tax is incredibly difficult. So like you can be earning a lot of money and you could be earning a lot of money for a pretty long time. Like I feel like I've been earning good money, not like a lot, but like good money for 5 years now probably.
Yeah.
But saving up post-tax is like
difficult.
so hard. Like even to save up the first like million, like it takes years and years of like high earning and saving
and
post-tax.
just expenses. You have expenses, and then what you don't spend then is now taxed, or you spend money after taxes. It's just
And when you're as bullish on Robinhood stock as I am,
oh gosh,
then obviously it's going to hinder your economical growth?
Honestly, I'd say about a third of my net worth has been through just pumping in during big dips the past couple of years. Just had great rebounds.
That's incredible.
Like the beginning of last year when tariff first started.
Yeah.
Whew, I love that little dip. I made incredible money on that.
Do you purposely set money aside for events like that?
No, I got really lucky.
So
though.
it was perfect timing.
It was
just happened
perfect
to.
timing. Now with the wealth advisors, with Thank You Money Guy, we are setting aside like a large pile of money for a few different things, but in case a big opportunity comes, whether that's, commercial real estate or buying a big dip.
Do you feel like you still need more money?
No, not at all. Not at all. It doesn't come from anything that I want additional in lifestyle. I'm getting my dream house in my dream neighborhood.
How much is that going to be?
House 1.6, renovation 5.
$5 million on a 1.6 house?
No,
Graham.
500,000.
What?
Oh my God.
500,000.
Well, when I hear
Sorry.
5, I think 5 million.
But that
It might
would be
be
insane.
500,000.
That would be
He
insane,
just-
though.
He's just
And I got my Model X. I'm very happy. So
Part of that might be you haven't moved into the house yet.
yeah, maybe.
And then you move into the house.
It's
and
not the
spend a
house though.
few
It's the
years,
community.
though.
It's walkable. Like that's what I craved. I crave a place with parks and shops that's safe and actually laws are enforced. And that's where I'm excited to be. So it's more that than the house.
Do you feel financially secure? Do you feel like you need more money?
I feel financially secure, but I feel like I need more money. It's so funny. I had these long discussions with Gemini and ChatGPT and Grok. They know everything about me. They know every single one of my investments.
Stop.
Seriously. And I update it on a regular basis so they know exactly where I stand. And I have gone through every single tax strategy to be able to buy a house that I want that I think would be a dream house.
What's that?
What do you mean, what's
Or
that?
can you say like what that would be?
Oh, price range wise? Or what?
Oh yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, I want a house in Las Vegas with a view of the Strip
Yeah.
that's completely private, where all you see from the front, my vision is just all you see is a gate.
So you're going
You
more
don't want to see the house. And then with a
seclusive.
yard, with a big yard with a view of the Strip, and those tend to be about 7 to 10. And me
That's
doing
chunky.
it is. And so then it is, 7 to 10, let's just say, because realistically I use some of the house for business, but the mortgage cap is $750, which leaves a lot of money that's not deductible. And then I'm like, well, I could do a box spread and I could borrow against my portfolio, create capital losses, and then buy the house with it. And I do all the calculations, but I've determined that right now to comfortably afford that, I need another 3 to 5 years of income because I never want to buy something and then be reliant on income to afford it. I assume if I buy something, I want to be okay where if my income goes to 0 the next day and I just have my investments to live off of, that'll fund everything I need with a 30% buffer in the event the market goes down or something unexpected comes up.
Why do you want that? I understand the view part, but why do you want to be further away from society? Why do you want
No, that's not further away.
Why do you want more space? Like, what are you doing with it?
Oh, I love when you go out and it just feels peaceful, where you just feel like you're in the middle of nature. I don't like going outside and I see like house. I love you open it into a space that just feels like you're in a bit of a forest.
Yeah.
That feels tropical. And I want koi ponds and like trickling water through the place. I don't want a mansion, but I just want that land and space and privacy with the view that just feels like you're in your own little sliver of like heaven, if that makes sense.
Actually, when you ask like if I need more money, no. But now that you did say that, I do have in the back of my head a really cool thing someday would be like a really cool hill country Texas ranch. I love a Texas ranch. I love animals. I do like land. It'd be cool. But so I guess that would be it. That'd be it.
Yeah.
But neither of you still fear going broke.
I don't fear that.
Oh, I would say for me, there's a certain small percentage that you don't know what you don't know. That's always what it is for me.
My philosophy is like, if the U.S. economy goes to 0 and we're all each other, I'm ready to put a in my mouth. I don't know.
If the U.S. economy goes to 0?
Yeah, if we're in like the World War Z, end of the world.
You wouldn't fight?
No. No. I'm too uncomfortable. My anxiety, my panic attacks. I would just end it. No.
I feel like people would say, "Yo, isn't that the guy from the financial audit show?" And they're like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, it is." And they're like, "Yo, come with us. Like, we'll save you."
I don't want the no. I think me and my girlfriend, we've decided we'd bunker it. So
It's expensive.
well, the part.
Oh, okay.
Where did you meet your girlfriend?
Instagram DMs.
You slid into her DM?
Other way.
She slid into your DM.
Yeah, I never slide in. Wait, do I? I probably have before. Yeah, I love it for his DM.
What did she say?
It was something funny. I don't remember exactly. It was something cheeky though. That's usually how you get me to respond.
And then what? You clicked on her profile. You're like, okay, I like the way she looks.
Yeah. And then we just started talking. And
how long until you knew that you wanted to take some things seriously with her?
About a month.
How many days?
Seriously enough. A week of very intense dates.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, you know what? I'm interested in this.
And then do you guys live together now?
We do now, yeah.
Okay, and how long until you guys started living together?
We went a little quicker than normal. 4 months. Definitely quicker than I would advise and stuff, but just some things with like lease situations and whatnot kind of lined up, and we're like, if we're gonna try it, let's try it. It doesn't work.
What are the main ways that having a relationship has improved your life? Like if you were to list out all of the stats of life, business, work, confidence, anxiety, what ways have improved the most?
Well, definitely getting good. I have a good support system, and she also calls me on my shit. Let me tell you, she calls me on my shit. So I'm not getting babied. Like whatever, if I have an opinion or I'm even like upset at someone at work, she'll call me on my shit, and she'll like.
What'll she say?
Play devil's advocate. I was angry about how an employee was acting at one point. I don't want to give details.
Yeah,
because I know they're listening. And she was like, "No, Caleb, you're being a dick. You're being." And I was like, "All right, I listen." Decent, good debates. We also have very similar interests in terms of like, we're interests aligned enough to have a really good time with each other. And that's really nice. Good support system. And I don't want this to be my life, but studies suggest for men, their closest dynamic in the vast majority of their life outside of childhood is their wife. That's not always the same for women to their husbands, but for men to their wives, that is like their closest and the person they put everything towards. And I'm glad I found, I don't know if she'll be a wife or not, but we're thinking about that, and I'm glad I think I found the one for that. So
when do you think you're going to come to a decision on that?
I think I already kind of have.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the most expensive gift you've gotten her?
Chanel bag.
How much was it?
$10,000?
Yeah. Never done anything like that in my life. But I was like, you know what? I make good money. I love this woman. It's been her dream since literally childhood.
A Chanel bag?
Yeah.
That was your dream?
Yeah, she's very into fashion. Collectibles, collector vintage type shit. So it was like classic flap, historic bag.
What was her reaction to a $10,000 bag?
She cried. She cried like crazy.
Now, why not buy her the replica version of that and just say it's the real? What, Jack?
To be fair, that's the nicest thing she's going to get for a very, very, very long time. But it was like her one thing. I was like, I had a really good year. I love this woman. I've never bought someone something so expensive before. It was when I asked her sister, it was like, this is what she's always talked about. I was like, okay, fuck it, let's swallow that. That's a hard one.
But with all of that said, with how incredible of a year that you had where it was wildly profitable and the amazing smile that you put on this woman's face that you love, and she was so happy, she cried, it's been her dream. Why would you still not buy a replica? See, Graham? You see what I'm saying? Like, do you see how ludicrous it is?
It's the same
You had the
thing.
most profitable year you've ever had. You could never even dream of making so much money.
But you could save $9,500.
But it holds value.
What was the process like of buying a $10,000 Chanel bag?
I went in. I was very lucky that they actually had one.
Okay.
I was very lucky they actually had one.
How do you know? And how do you scan that someone isn't interested in you for either the money or for the social media popularity?
Yeah, that's hard. That's where, well, you see the flaws in someone pretty quick, and if they can't put up with my flaws, of which there are many, that would be hard to stick around just for, like, I'm not that kind of rich, you know? We're not on that level. This is still just like YouTube at the end of the day. And prenup out of the gate. You say, yeah, I'm getting a prenup. That's going to happen. That's a good way to weed them out.
Why don't you lose weight?
I do and have. I think I'm 20 pounds down from the last time you guys saw me. But you're right. I mean, yeah, it's not as much.
Is it a priority for you?
It continues in cycles of priority. I'll be honest, the last 2 weeks have been bad. I've been really good the last few months. The last 2 weeks have been bad after a big freeze where we were all stuck inside, and I used that as a slide. That was bad. I just need to get right back on it. Girlfriend's great for that. Huge fitness person, huge dieting person. She's very smart, great cooking, and the gym is her life. So she's actually been really good on that. She holds me accountable, and she calls me on my.
What's your weakness in food?
Fries, burgers, and shakes. That shit's good.
And where?
Damn America. Shake Shack's incredible. Five Guys is incredible. P. Terry's is incredible. McDonald's is incredible. Chick-fil-A is incredible.
What's the most underrated fast food restaurant?
Underrated? I don't know why the people think Shake Shack and In-N-Out are even comparable. It's not even close. Shake Shack kills In-N-Out. It's not even close. I'd say that's underrated just because they compare them. It's not even fair that they're compared. Culver's.
Culver's is
great.
Yeah.
Overrated. Whataburger.
Do you have any desire, though, to really take it seriously with diet and the gym and make a huge lifestyle change? Just get jacked.
Gym, I would love to. Would I? Or else I would just do it, right? I'm kind of like a financial audit guest. Gym would be nice, but diet, yes. And I have been, actually, for what it's worth. And people, actually, we did an end of year video of we put all the clips from the year and stuff, and people were commenting about the weight loss, which was it was good to see.
Do you think that you getting, let's just say, jacked, looks maxing, do you think that would have an adverse effect on the channel?
Yeah,
maybe
probably.
Sometimes you in your current form is going to be more maybe better for views. Let's say,
form? What do you say?
I don't know. Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill lost weight and he became less funny.
Yeah.
Right? I could say this, dude. I don't know.
I love fat jokes, and I probably can't do as many fat jokes when I'm clavicular.
But maybe you could, having lost the weight, though.
Yeah, but at that point, it probably just looks mean. People already think it's mean, but I don't care. So, yeah.
I think, Caleb, at the end of the day, everything that you've done is incredibly impressive.
Oh, yeah,
especially
we talk about
you
it
go
all
back
the time.
several
Thanks,
years.
guys.
I mean, where you were at, you were in a decent spot back then too, but you just seem like another one of those ambitious people that was I'm going to put my head down and work and see what happens. And it was okay, you were doing well and you continued moving in the right direction, but you have stuck with it. You've remained incredibly consistent, super hardworking, super disciplined, and you have absolutely exploded. And every single time that we think, this is probably about it. How much longer can he do these? Is this really going to be, a profitable thing for a really long time, or is he just hitting another ceiling? And then every single time you just break through the ceiling and break through the ceiling. So you've done an incredible job. Also, I will say, of all of the things, it's you're a great personality on camera, but of all of the things, you're incredibly efficient at organizing people. And I think that that's what's led to the crazy rise of the business, is that you're able to put the right person in the right job and then know when someone's not either the right person or not in the right spot, and then be able to put them in the right spot. So I think you've done an incredible job. Your output is insane. It's super respectable.
Yeah, your efficiency is a 10 out of 10. And we look at your operation as our inspiration. And we see what you're doing and we talk to you. And you are a huge influence now in the Iced Coffee Hour of figuring out what we could do to improve and not get stale.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. It's good to have good support system. You guys are always good to talk to. I have the most incredible employees. It's all because of them. The audience is stuck with me through drama, through fun, through goons, through gaffes. So the audience is absolutely incredible. And then most important, the guests on Financial Audit. None of it would be possible without them. So I'm beyond thankful for them.
And of course, we're very grateful for you to come back on the Iced Coffee Hour every single time we talk to you. It is an absolute pleasure. And for everybody watching, guys, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, we would not be here if not for you. So every single day, I try to practice a little bit of gratitude for the position that we're in. And we would not be here if not for you guys. So thank you sincerely from the bottom of our heart for watching this episode.
Thank you. And we'll also link to your budgeting app in the description. So it is there for anyone who wants to try it out. There you go.
Mm-hmm. We flew out to Austin for this. We're staying another day to film a bunch more episodes, and then we're flying to Puerto Rico. Okay. And then we're going to fly back home and then leave back for LA. Our travel schedule is crazy, but we're doing it for you guys. So thank you guys. Thank you, Caleb.
Till next time.
Till next time.